Welcome to the Prophets in Pajamas podcast. I'm Danielle DeTeach, or Coach Danny D, and I help women entrepreneurs and professionals to achieve their personal success stories that include joy, fulfillment, and balance. This is where we talk about how to build your business in a way that allows you to work with ease, be successful, and enjoy your life. My happy place is spending as much time in my PJs as humanly possible. And I want to help other women find their happy space while running profitable businesses or having a successful career. So get comfortable and let's dig in. Hello and welcome to the Prophets in Pajamas podcast. I am your host, Coach Danny D, always here helping you find that space of balance, joy, fulfillment. I am so excited today. I'm gonna do an intro, but I always have to add a little extra to it when I've met somebody ahead of time. So I met Sheryl. I was invited to her Occupy Mastermind recently, and it was everything that I didn't know I needed in that moment.
Oh,
And, I truly appreciate when I enter space where I am poured into everything about it was thoughtful. And I immediately knew, y'all know God tells me who I need to invite. So I knew that we needed to connect and that I needed to have Sheryl here. So I have Sheryl Landry Grant, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about her. So she has a heart for Gen X and elder millennials, which that's me. I struggle with, when people say millennials, I'm like kind of sort of,
no, I'm
but
not. I'm not.
I
Yeah,
just don't feel like I fully identify, but based on the math, I'm at the cusp.
yeah.
So I'm a embrace elder
Elder
for you.
Millennial. Yeah,
But my heart is Gen X. Okay, let's just be clear. But math is math, whatever. But she has a heart for Gen X and elder millennial women who are kingdom rooted intrapreneurs and entrepreneurs. She believes every person's purpose is rooted in Genesis 1:28
absolutely.
and that we've been designed to maximize our gifts, talents, skills, and ability as we do what God designed for us and live lives we love. I love
Yes,
everything about
yes,
that.
yes. I want women to live lives they love.
I love
First, thank you for the invite, for the connection. It's been so great, like just getting to know you over the last few weeks and everything, and even taking the time to listen to the podcast for myself, and that it's intentionally designed for women who want to know how to do hard things with ease.
yes.
That is such a it's countercultural in 2025.
Oh
Let's
yes.
let's be
Absolutely.
clear. It's
Absolutely.
countercultural.
Absolutely.
But like I want women to live lives they don't need a vacation from.
That part. That part. Like I'm just sitting here just even just the bio everything like I'm like that is so
Yeah.
what I want for the world, what I want for
Yeah.
women. We don't have to struggle through life.
We don't. We don't. And the only time we're resting, rest for us means sleep or let's go to Jamaica. But then when you wake up or when you get back home, all the things are still there and
Yes.
you still have not mastered how to maximize your time. You still haven't mastered how to build the business or how to build a career you really desire without burning the candle at both ends,
Right. Right.
without all the noise,
Yes.
right? Because the world is really noisy.
Oh,
The world is really noisy.
it is noisy. It is noisy. And I like recently, and I can't remember who I was talking to,
Mhm.
but I was having a conversation about, rest. and understanding that, you know, like you said, like you can't just come back to the same
Right,
situation. You
right.
have to renegotiate the situation
Yeah.
because otherwise you're going to be in, constant pursuit
Hmm.
of this break or trying to outrun burnout. But you have to change the entire situation.
Yeah. The entire framework of how you've designed your life. And I would even say the entire and the framework of how you design your life only changes when your point of view changes, right? So if you only have a point of view that if where you're standing in life, just like practically, right? If we go into let's say we go to Walmart together and we're standing side by side. From where I'm standing, I can see things that you may not be able to see, right?
Right,
So
right,
in life, if where you're standing, all you see is a path that leads to burnout, you've got to come up higher.
right.
You've got to come up higher. So that way you can see how to, like you said, renegotiate the situation so that you've put structure in place that provides you space to breathe easy. It provides you space to say no. It provides you space to put boundaries in place. One of the things I do through the organization. So the program, one of the programs that we have is called Occupy Academy, which is for women who are over 35, who are entrepreneurs, who are leaders in different spaces. That includes if you're a single mom trying to navigate how to raise your children successfully. If you're a stay-at-home mom, leadership is leadership on every level,
Yeah.
right? And we have to know how to lead well in every space that we're in. So, what we do through Occupy Academy, dealing with wealth, wellness, identity, relational intelligence, and resting in the grace that God has on your life to do everything that you're supposed to do without feeling like you are overwhelmed. I
Mm,
don't believe God gives us anything. I don't believe He assigned us anything that's supposed to be overwhelming all the time.
yeah.
When you're living from that, you're not gonna be good for yourself, much less the people that you're called to impact. And so there's a part of the personal development that I offer that's called Vision Board, BORED.
Mm,
You don't see more for yourself because the vision you're bored with the vision you have for your life.
right.
So how do we get you into a space where you, like I said, you're living a life you love? One of the first things that we do is we create what's called fences and gates around our lives, around our
Mm,
businesses, around whatever the thing is that you're building. Fences in natural, right? Where if you've got a piece of property, you put a fence up, it keeps out what doesn't belong in,
right,
and it keeps in what doesn't need to go out. Gates provide access points, ingress and egress. So you will allow certain things to come in and out of the gate,
right,
right? We decide what needs to be inside the fence. So that may be business boundaries,
right.
especially for those of us who are service providers. It works a little different if you have a product oriented business. Maybe people are like ordering things on the website, that kind of thing. Even with that, though, like you decide when you're going to ship stuff. You don't need to be shipping stuff every single day. Like
Right,
it,
right,
but for those of us who are service providers, working person to person, oftentimes you may find when you're first starting out, you've got people who are emailing you at 5:30 in the morning, expecting you to be able to coach. No, not the sun isn't
Mm-mm.
even up. I'm
Look,
not either.
I had to tell a friend the other day, like, we were at a retreat and she was stressing out about responding to a client. I said, girl, it's Sunday.
See what I'm saying? You need
It
a
is
fence around
Sunday.
that. You need a fence.
Yes.
You need a fence. No, we're not doing that. So those are things that will go outside the fence. That's on somebody else's property.
Right. Right.
What's on my property inside this fence, this is what I attend to on a regular basis. These are the things that are important to me, and I put structure in place to manage what's inside the fence. Then I put a gate in place to decide every now and then to allow certain things. So that may look like making room for additional clientele to come in and out, right? That the gate may be closed though, because I'm gonna fire some clientele.
Right.
Like you
Right.
want more than what this relationship is intended. So you may need therapy, not personal development.
Correct.
So I'm gonna open the gate so you can go.
Go ahead and go. Go ahead and go. And and I had a conversation just this week about sometimes it's just not a good fit.
Sometimes
And
it's not a good.
that's okay. And we can just realize, you know what? I didn't realize it sooner, but it's not a good
Mhm.
fit. And just walk away from it. It doesn't have to be this whole dramatic thing, right? It's just we're not a good fit.
We're
And
not
that's
a good
okay.
fit. But in what we find these days, unfortunately, is in the interest of getting to the bar of six figures, right? And then I found over time somebody moved the bar, and now we're pushing towards seven figures. And in 2025, they moved the bar again. So now we're trying to get to eight figures. So we're not firing clients. It's we could say it's not a good fit. I had a conversation with someone recently doing some business consulting, and I was telling her much of the frustration you're experiencing in the business is because you've allowed your clients to turn the business into something it was never designed to be.
Mm,
And so
mm.
now you are doing things that you never wanted to do, and it's a heavier lift than your skill set.
Yes.
It's a
Yes.
heavier lift than your character, because, and when I say character, I'm not talking about morality or ethics. I'm
No.
talking like just basic things like procrastination,
Right.
right? Intentionality. You don't like getting up out of the bed before noon,
Right.
but everybody that you work with needs you before 12 o'clock. You don't, you, so the business has now turned into something that you allowed them to turn it into. And now you hate what you do.
Right. Right. Right.
You hate what you do. And so it's not going to feel easy. It's
Mm-mm.
not going to feel like, it's not going to feel purposeful. You're not going to, but you also won't let it go because I made my first six figures this year.
Right. Right. A
And
couple of
that
things
matters more to you than
then
having an aligned business.
oh. All right, I gotta pause you. I have to pause you because there's a couple of things that I want to dig deeper into just from that last statement. One is that piece of being self-aware and honest with yourself.
Yes.
Because like you said, okay, you don't like to get up before noon. So why are you putting yourself in positions that require something from you that is not innate in you?
Yeah.
And not saying that we can't stretch, not
Right.
saying that we can't grow, but
But
even
you know you don't want to.
that part, but even in growth, you got to be honest. I'm here right now. Like if somebody said, I'm going to require you to go run a marathon tomorrow, I ain't got that for you.
I don't have that. I don't have that.
I
I'll
don't
bring
have that for
snacks for
you.
after the marathon is over. I'll bring water for everybody.
Right. But I don't look, I don't have that for you. I have, you would you like a post marathon meal? I will have it prepared for you.
High protein. Come on.
But I don't have that for you.
Yeah.
And so one, not putting ourselves in situations where we're destined to fail, right? Like this,
Yeah.
like because you just hurting your own ego.
Yeah.
like that. So, I just didn't want like gloss over that part because I think
Yeah,
sometimes we think as leaders, as entrepreneurs, that we have to do all things, but sometimes that thing wasn't for you and it's not in you, and that's okay.
that's okay.
And it's okay to say no, like I don't want to do this.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
get to choose. You
Especially as an entrepreneur. Like
right,
this was something you decided.
right, right.
You
So you
decided
get
to
to
do this.
choose.
You get to choose.
You get to
You get to
choose.
choose.
But I just think that that's so important to just be honest with ourselves and say, you know what? I am not the best fill in the blank.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's just not me.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's something that's necessary, you could hire for it. If it's something that's not, you could just say, that's not what we
That's
do
not
over
what we
here.
do. That's not what we do. And be
And
okay with that.
be good with it. The other piece I wanted to like hone in on is this whole like moving the bar, right?
Oh,
And the financial goal being the only goal.
that's the only, that's it. That's the only measure of
Success.
success.
Yes. And to me, like I'm in a space now where, I feel like, the school teachers, it's a rubrics for me.
Okay. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like it
Mhm.
is multiple things in conjunction that equals
Absolutely.
success.
Absolutely.
Like, do I have to pay attention to the numbers? Yeah. Because I know I got to clear this to
Mm-hmm.
make sure that I'm profitable.
Mm-hmm.
But do I have some arbitrary, like, financial goal? I don't. I don't. I have a financial goal, but it
Mm-hmm.
is tied to what I know needs to happen. Now, if it goes above that, that's great. But for me, I have two businesses. The
Mm-hmm.
balloon business. I've done six figures in that business.
In the business, right?
You know what I'm saying? And I know how to consistently do six figures in a business. But I also know that I've decided that that business is a boutique business.
There
And
you go.
therefore, any decisions I make financially are based on whether or not it pulls me out of the ability to do the other things that I want to do.
Yeah.
So I could go hard in the paint
Mm-hmm.
and
Taking every little thing that comes up, every 1 year old's birthday party, everybody's graduation party, everybody's retirement party. But if that doesn't align with the vision and values that you have that belong to you because
right,
you created the business,
correct.
you're not working for somebody else.
No,
This
no, it's
isn't a
yours.
I have to do this.
No,
No,
it
it is
is
what you want
yours.
it to be.
It is yours. You have so much control over your business. And I'm
Yeah.
gonna go a step further over your life because
Over your
you may
life.
not have a business. You may be working a 9 to 5. And
Right.
yes, there are some parameters there,
Mhm.
but you still have much more control
Than you think you do.
than you think you do.
That is true. I think that's an important point to make because it makes the distinction between life happening for us and life happening to us.
Yes, yes,
And so when you feel like every aspect of your life is something that's happening to you, then you don't see the need to put boundaries in place. You don't see the need to build fences and gates, right? You
right.
think that everything that happens is just going to happen. And it's the woe is me. I don't have any control over it. There's nothing I can quote unquote do about it. My life is so hard. You're not going to find rest if that's the
Mm-mm,
perspective that you have.
mm-mm. No, because I mean, I love the idea of the fences and gates because your property just wide open
Right.
and you
And,
just letting
and
whatever
you're mad when
roam.
people wander onto
Right,
you're mad.
right.
Like
They
you
look, people
can't
back there having whole cookouts and everything in your
in your
backyard.
backyard. because they don't know the boundary.
Right. And then you sitting there mad on the inside,
You're mad.
but you not willing to go out there and put that fence up.
Right, right, right. Some things are unavoidable, right? So like in the realistic context, you may have an issue like where we live, um last for like the last couple of years, we've had hawks in the
Mm.
neighborhood. Now, and we don't live in the country, let's be clear. Like I live in Baton
Well,
Rouge, but we're not like on the outskirts close to the woods or anything
I'm
like
in New
that.
Orleans and I feel like post Katrina, it's like
It's
wildlife and
wild.
fishery. I'm
It's
like, what is
National
this thing?
Geographic.
Like, I'm
Yeah,
like, what is this? Like, when did this happen? I've never seen this
literally,
thing before up
literally.
close and personal.
Animal Planet.
Yes. I'm like, I mean, like, we had raccoons. I was like, what?
Raccoons, possums, we've had foxes, and I'm like, I don't understand where these are coming from. But
Right.
we've had hawks that have been like eating the squirrels. And
Mm-hmm.
so we can't control the fact that the hawk comes into the backyard, but we can
Right.
control whether or not it stays.
Right. Right. Right.
Just like life, you couldn't control the fact that the pandemic showed up, but you can control how your life is managed and how your business is
Right.
managed as a result of it,
Right.
right? You may not be able to control a layoff. You may not be able to control high prices at the gas station or groceries or whatever the case may be. I was telling somebody the other day, um, like $20 at the grocery store is basically a handful of snacks.
Right. You just some chips and a candy bar.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it. And hope they give you change. You know, you can't control that. You can, however, control your responses to things.
Right.
You can control whether or not certain things impact you so negatively that it weighs so heavily on you that you just decide not to deal with it. So again, the difference is between life happening for me and
Mm-hmm.
life happening to me.
Right.
Um, I'm pretty sure for many people, as bad as the pandemic was on so many levels and so many ways, many people would not have started an entrepreneurial journey that they
Right.
know God
Right.
had been calling them to for years until the world shut down.
No, absolutely. I'm gonna speak for myself. I have a balloon business, I have a coaching business. The
Hmm.
balloon business was doing what it needs to do. It
Hmm.
always does. It's kind of at this point on autopilot. And I said I wanted to make sure I got the balloon business where it needed to be. And
Hmm.
then I was going to sit back and focus more heavily on coaching.
Okay.
And that was what I was supposed to do coming into 2020. January, February was on and popping. And I mean, so I was in I didn't forgot what I had promised God, right? And March came and God said, you know what? I'm gonna sit your little tail down. And when that happened in the balloon industry, everybody was talking about pivots and this and
Hmm.
alternate
Hmm.
ways. And I'm like, that's cool, but that's not what God told me.
You to do. Right.
And so, there were a lot of people that were trying to pull me in a different direction. I'm like, that's not what God told me. God told me, I'm giving you this moment to sit in this space. You said when it slowed down, well, it's slowed.
It's
It
slow.
has slowed.
It's slow.
So
Yeah.
now you're gonna sit in this space and face this purpose work
Yeah.
that is
Yeah.
intimidating,
Yeah.
because I will speak my 100% truth. Purpose work is always intimidating. It is um rewarding,
Hmm.
but there's always a little intimidation there because it means so much more.
It means so much more. It means so much more. I think where that intimidation factor is, uh, where we see that happening a lot is in the Bible with Joshua. I look at the fact that Joshua walked with Moses throughout his entire process, right? When Moses went up on the mountain, he took Joshua with him. So Joshua had an up close and personal look at what it was like to serve God at that higher level, right? Joshua is an example. If Moses is the entrepreneur, Joshua was Moses's entrepreneur.
Mm,
Right. So he was able to see things. He was able to help put strategy in place when it was time for them to go to war. He was able to organize the people because Aaron was supposed to be that. But yeah, we're not gonna talk about that. And the whole golden calf situation, right? So like you got a weak leader.
right, right,
You got the person who's supposed to be the entrepreneur, but he's weak, so he's doing all the things that don't need to be done the way they don't need to be done. But
right.
we see Joshua after Moses dies, and God, every time God gave Joshua instructions, he would preface it with, "Don't be afraid, only
Mm,
be courageous. I've assigned you to, like you call it, this purpose work."
right.
But despite the fact that Joshua knew God, despite the fact that Joshua was there and he saw all the things, when Moses was gone, God is now having to tell Joshua, who is a warrior, who is a leader, who is a captain of armies, don't be scared of this. Don't be afraid of this. Because purpose work, who, especially if you're stepping into it like really, really differently, right? If all
Hmm.
you've ever known is being an employee, but you know there's an entrepreneurial pursuit for you, that feels real different because how do I now go from knowing I'm getting paid every 2 weeks
Hmm.
to not knowing where the next client is coming
That
from?
part, that part, yes. Yeah, it's so much uncertainty, so much
Yeah.
trust, faith. I think for me, and I want thank you for sharing the story of Joshua. I think like seeing it up close, right? You
Hmm.
see not only, what you're supposed to do,
Right.
but you also understand the weight of the responsibility.
Exactly. Exactly.
And I think that that's why God has to remind you to be not afraid.
Don't be scared of that. Don't be scared of that.
Because it's like, you want me to do what, God?
Right.
Like me, like little old me, you want me
Right.
to do,
Mhm.
and so I think that that is, where a lot of times that the shrinking comes in and the imposter syndrome and all of those things come into play because when you really admit, because I think that there's a certain amount of admission to it, right? Because
Mhm.
sometimes we just try to shrug it off, right?
Yeah.
But when you really admit that this is what God has called you to, then you also have to like process that you have to be bigger than what you've ever been.
Yeah. 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 I think that's an important way to look at it because if you know in when he created us in Genesis, when he decided he wanted us, he didn't do with us what he did with everything else and say, "Let there be." He literally pulled us out of himself.
Yeah.
I'm going to make them in my image and in my likeness. And then I'm going to give them this task of being fruitful and multiplying, replenishing, subduing, and having dominion. When we talk about it being on earth as it is in heaven, that's supposed to
Mhm.
come through us.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
supposed to come through us. But I think oftentimes we think that God, that what he does is he just kind of throws us out there and is like, okay, good luck, figure it out.
Right. Right. And that's not the case. It's
That's
really
not the
not.
case. That's not the
It's
case.
really not, but it's not. I think that is because it's not in the way that we expect it, right? Like,
Oh
we
yeah.
expect to get an itinerary. Well, you're gonna go here and you're gonna have a connected flight here and and it's really much, much more like a what do I want to say? Like I'm thinking treasure map, but that's not what I mean. But like scavenger hunt.
It's a yeah. You
It's
get to
really
the
more
next
like that. Like
instruction
you get
when you followed the first instruction.
that part. You get a clue, go do that
Uh-huh. Go do
and come
that.
back to me.
Right.
But we
Right.
don't be wanting to do the thing. And then we be mad talking about where's
Right.
God? Like he right there.
Right. Right.
He is
A
right
good
there. He just waiting
example.
on you.
Oh, that is so good. You said that and it reminded me of Abraham and Lot, right? Like God tells Abraham, come on and go. Like he pulls him away from everything he's familiar with. But part of his instruction was to leave your father's house, leave your family. The only people he was supposed to take with him was his servants and his wife. Lot comes with him. They're in the wilderness, and Lot's people are now in an argument with Abraham's people. God does not give Abraham any more instructions until they split. I told you what to do, but you
Right.
did this one thing the way you wanted to do it. I'm not saying anything else.
Right.
Because
Right.
this wasn't for Abraham and Lot. This was for Abraham and his this was for you only.
Right.
He literally does not tell him where else to go until they split,
Right.
which further lets me know that even though we think we're by ourselves, right? Even though we feel like he just threw us out in the ocean and is like, okay, find land, figure it out. He's there the entire time, but sometimes the instruction that we're looking for is do the last thing I told you.
Yeah.
You want
Yes.
to know what's next. Just do the last thing
Right.
I told you to do.
Right. And then it will reveal itself.
And it'll reveal itself. It's the scavenger hunt clue. It's the clue.
And
It's not, it really is not a treasure. Like that's a really great way to look at it. It's a scavenger hunt. You're
yes.
gonna get the next thing after you did the last thing. I am not showing you the entire map.
Mm-mm.
I'm
Cause
gonna
you
tell you
would.
where
Cause
it's
you
gonna
gonna mess it
lead
up.
to.
I already know you don't have the
Oh, when I
capacity.
tell you,
You do not have the capacity to
details,
see the whole picture.
if he gives me details, I'm gonna sit with him and try to find out how can we rework this. Like,
Right. Right. You are going to mess it up. Like I can tell you both sides of the situation. I can tell you when, when I disobeyed, not knowing I was disobeyed, and I can tell you when
mm-hmm,
I've obeyed. And
mm-hmm,
I've disobeyed and I in my mind, I didn't turn the instruction that I was given into something else.
into something
And
else,
I didn't go all the way down the road with it. And then got to the end of the road and it was a dead end.
and
And
realized I was just supposed to go across the street.
I was like, Lord, what happened?
What
And he
happened?
said, I ain't nobody told you to turn left.
Nobody told you to turn there.
Nobody told you to turn left.
If you would
I
have paid
never said
attention,
that. And then
yeah.
I just have to sit in that because I know, you know what? If I think about it, you really didn't say that. You said a turn is coming,
Ah,
but I decided that the turn was left.
was right there.
And you didn't say, is this turn?
That's
But
good.
I ran with it.
That's good.
So I've experienced that on that side. On the flip side, the times when you said move and I moved, and
Mm-hmm.
then things appeared, and I was like, where did that
Where did
come
that come
from?
from? Yeah.
And many of those times I moved, and the move itself did not make sense to me in the grand scheme of what was going on.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And, like I was talking to somebody about a like difficult situation going on, and they said back to me, I know God brought me to this situation to meet you.
Okay.
You feel me? Like
Okay.
the situation may not have been good, whatever
Right.
went on, and but that has happened so many times where I've come to a space and I'm like, I don't know why God told me to do this. I don't know why I'm here. This
Mm-hmm.
don't make no kind of sense. Like
Yeah.
in the grand, like in the scope of my mind.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
then I realized I was at a space to meet a person.
Yeah.
I was at a space to, have a next thought or breakthrough. I was at a space because that was the next
That was next.
clue.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we have to learn to embrace that.
That I believe is where having that understanding of resting in him comes from, right? Like for if you are building a kingdom-based business, if you're building your career around the things of God, having an understanding that it's his plan
Yeah.
that I'm actively executing.
Yes.
And so because it's his plan, I don't have to have all the details figured out.
Mm-mm.
I don't have like I tell people all the time, we are living God's history
Right.
because he knows all of this. He knows everything about everything all the time at the same time.
Right. Right.
So he knew in 1976 that you and I were going to meet in 2025.
Right. Right.
The day I was born in 1976, he already knew Sheryl and Danny need to meet each other.
Right.
And
Right.
so resting in the understanding that I'm fully equipped, even if being fully equipped is in seed form. Because I think that's another
Mm.
thing that we see fully equipped and we like you mentioned before, we start feeling like we have to do all the things and know all the things and be
Right.
all the things. Sometimes the equipping is in seed form.
Yes. Yes.
Right? So, like you mentioned, running the marathon. Sometimes the equipping is I'm warmed up. I may not know how to fully run the marathon,
Right.
but I know how to warm up.
Right.
Sometimes the full equipping is I might not be ready for running, but I can walk it.
Right. Right.
We take it and we think he gave me seed. I'm gonna plant it and it's gonna be like Jack and the Beanstalk kind of thing. I'm gonna wake up the next day and everything's just gonna be there. Some stuff that we're given in seed form, it has to be nurtured, it has to be cultivated, has to be fertilized. So there's some crap that has to get thrown on top of it.
Oh, Jesus. And you're right.
There's pruning that's required, right? We've got to make sure that the birds aren't coming and eating the fruit. We've got to make sure that the weeds aren't growing. And I was telling somebody the other day that the thing that I've discovered about the differences between seed and weeds is nobody ever plants weeds,
Right.
but they're always there.
But they gonna show up.
They're gonna show up right next
And
to
they
the thing
don't
you
need
planted,
nurturing.
and they don't need your permission to grow.
Mm-mm.
So that intentionality behind how we cultivate what we're given in seed form, and then resting in the fact that God knows exactly what's in the seed He's given you.
Right. Right.
He could have given both of us uh coaching business in seed form. So let's take that because we're both coaches and both consultants. He's given both of us a coaching business in seed form, but what yours grows into is not going to be the same thing that mine grows into because
Correct.
even though there may be some overlap in the audience, we serve the people that we serve differently.
Right. Right. Absolutely.
Where I find we get trapped these days is listening to the noise of people who do things similar to what we do. And we're like, oh, she does what I do. And she says she made six figures in 6 months. I haven't made six figures in 6 years. So I need to go sign up for what she's doing. I need to go sign up for this. I need this newsletter. I need this webinar. I need to subscribe to this YouTube channel. I need to link up with this person on social media. And then it's like one thing after the other, after the other, after the other that we are allowing into our space.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't even consume all that information. You literally
Mm.
cannot even
No, it
consume
it
all that
becomes
information.
it becomes overload. It becomes overload, and I'm gonna bring it back to Abraham and Lot,
Hmm.
because that's the road that you're traveling down when you do that. When
That's
you
right.
get into the comparison, when you get into
Yeah.
because God told you. God told you to do X, Y, and Z.
Mhm.
God did not say, Danny, go be Sheryl.
Right. Right.
He never said that.
Never said that.
He never said that. He said, I need you to be you.
Yes.
And I need you to be the most you that
Oh,
you can possibly be. And that's all I call you to do. That is it. That's
that's
the
it.
whole assignment.
That's
Is that
it.
I need you to be the
Be the
biggest you,
most you that
the
you can
most
be.
you that you could possibly be, because I intentionally made you to serve the purpose that I have
That
given you.
I gave you.
And
We
so if
turned
that
that
is the
into
case,
something that we turned it into something else though.
right, we want to add this and put on that. And he said, take all that
You
off.
throw that off. You're
Take it.
wearing Saul's armor trying to go defeat Goliath.
Right,
And really all you're trying to put on Saul's armor. The thing I love about the story of David and Goliath is David tells him, listen, I know what I'm doing because I have slain lions and bears while I was keeping my father's sheep. Plural lions. Whenever lions would come, I would defeat them. Whenever bears, plural, would come, I would defeat them. And I didn't need Saul's armor to do that.
right,
I can't wear your armor because that's not for me. That's not for
right.
me. David
That's
goes
it.
and gets 5 smooth stones from the side of the river. The interesting thing about that I've always loved about that story is he went and got 5, but he only had to use one.
Hmm.
Much
Because
of what we are doing, and I feel like even in my own coaching business, I have had to be careful of like I tell people I don't want you to need me.
mm-mm.
I want you to grow and go.
Right, because you need to be able to do it on your own.
You need to be able to do what you have to do the way God designed you to do it. I can point you in the right direction. I can help you put systems in place. I can help you refine your offer. I can help you design your frameworks. I can help you reposition your pricing to reposition the business depending on what kind of people you want to reach. But if you pay attention to it these days, everybody's telling everybody you need a high ticket, this, that, and the other.
That might not be the thing for
The
you.
unfortunate thing about that is that you're creating high ticket this, that, and the other but the people that you're called to, the people you're called to aren't even in that price bracket.
Right,
So you keep trying to give people, you're trying to feed people things they're not ready for. You're trying to give babies meat,
right.
but really, honestly, you're not even on meat.
Look, because
You're still on milk.
I'm sitting here and the thought that I'm having as you're saying that is truthfully, and I don't mind stepping on toes, but truthfully, a lot of these, coaches, educators, business models are pyramid schemes.
If we're gonna tell the truth, let's tell it
If
on a
we're gonna
1.
tell the truth,
Let's tell the
because
truth.
you never did the thing that you are selling people a course to try to
No,
do.
you're not even the person who can do it.
Right,
I help women be the person that can do the thing so they can have the thing.
right,
You are not the person. And we have to come to a real truth
right.
about that, right? Like I pyramid scheme that I don't even know if I'd ever thought about it that way. But in truth,
It's
right?
what
The
it
thing,
is. I
the
mean,
thing that the coach is selling is something that they may not have even done. They're not even actually coaching people, but they're trying to teach you how to be a coach. You're the business.
right.
You're the business. You're what they're making. They are not making money on coaching
No, no,
people,
no. They made millions on selling
on selling
on selling how to do the thing,
how to
not
do the
on
thing,
actually doing
doing it.
the thing.
Correct.
And
And they're not even coaching you.
no,
You're on a webinar having a pep rally, quite
that's
honestly.
that's
They're
it.
tickling your emotions,
That's
right?
it.
Learn some
And giving
marketing
you the
tactics.
fantasy of you could do it too.
Right.
But there's nothing greater than stepping into your full authenticity.
That's the thing. And that has to be more than a buzzword,
No, no,
right?
no.
That has to be,
It's
oh,
gotta
that has to
be,
be more. That
it's
has to be
gotta
more.
be being real. Like I met you today, I meet you tomorrow, I meet you next week. It's gonna be the same Sheryl.
I
It's
need
gonna
people to
be,
know that.
you know what I'm saying? It's gonna be the
Yes,
same Sheryl. I've had
yes,
to have some very
yes.
difficult conversations in the last couple of weeks with some people because one thing people know about me is this.
Mhm.
I'm either going to be honest or quiet. That's your two
Wow.
options.
Come on.
That's your two options. In situations where I don't feel like that you can receive the honesty, I'm just going to be quiet. But I'm
Hmm.
never going to be the person to amen your wrongness. It's
Yeah,
just not in me.
yeah.
And so that's who I am. That is just a part of who I am, and that's how I show up. My good friends know, like they could be running down to me. This situation happened, da, 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 da. And see when they realize I ain't saying nothing bad, they gonna switch up. They say, just tell me what I did wrong.
I love that. I love
First of
that.
all, like because to me it's a disservice for me to call myself your friend, for me to call myself your coach, for me to call myself any kind of relationship that we have. It is a disservice for me to let you walk around with a huge blind spot and never address it with you.
Because that's the whole point of bringing in a coach, right? Or having a mentor even. I sit in a seat higher than where you sit so I can see things you cannot see. My intention is to call you up here
Correct.
in every aspect, not just financially, right? So
Correct.
even where the authenticity comes from, where all of the coaches, all of the all the gurus, where all of them are concerned, it's the constant, I did it, you could do it too. Well, not if your character isn't intact, you can't.
That part.
Not if maybe even on just a basic intellect level, just on basic intellect alone. Maybe not,
Right. Because look, everybody ain't got
maybe not.
everybody ain't got, and
And
that's not a
that's
slight.
not, that's right,
It's
right.
not a slight.
But you
Everyone's
gotta be
skill set
honest with
is
where you
different.
are. You have
Every,
to be honest with
yes, you
where
have
you
to be
are.
100%. Everybody's skill set is different. I know what I'm good at, and I know what I'm not. You know, me and my husband been together since 1812. Um, I know, I am creative, I'm more relational,
Mhm.
that's who I am as a person. My husband is an engineer, so he's more details
He's the
and
intellect.
that side of
Mhm.
things. I have a very
Y'all
analytical
are right
side.
brain and left brain.
Well,
And
see,
I
I'm a
love
little
that.
odd because I have an analytical side too. But
Okay.
when it comes down to it, he is going to out analytic me, as far as that's his lane.
Yes.
He's not crossing over between the two. I'm crossing over
You
between.
cross over.
So I know when it comes to something like if some form comes in and it's 12 pages, 20, 30 pages long, or if I
Hmm.
get a new electronic or something like that, here you go, babe.
Right.
I'm gonna hand it to him because he's gonna sit there and he's gonna go line by line, point by point, and
Yeah.
he's gonna make sure that it happens. If it involves like planning or something like that, he's gonna defer to me because I'm gonna have it mapped out. All right, we're gonna
Right.
leave at this time. This is
Right.
gonna happen. Make sure you got this. That's my lane.
Yes.
But we have to know that everybody, you can't say, well, if I did it, you could do it too. You may not have the same skill set that I do. You might not
Right.
have the same anointing that I do.
That's right.
You don't have the same calling
You
that I
don't.
do.
You don't.
So you got to sit back and, like you said, eliminate that noise and get back in conversation with God.
Have to. Have to.
Because again, like I told you during the pandemic, everybody around me, the noise said, pivot and do this. God said, I gave you a whole different assignment.
That's how it was for us too. We, interestingly enough, in 2018, the Lord started talking to me about remote in 2018. So he was drawing my attention to, and at that same time, there was money available for nonprofits to get buildings. There was money available for nonprofits to start, building brick and mortar. The Lord kept telling me, stop looking for another space and go remote. He
Mm,
started drawing my attention to tech companies who were already doing that, who had
wow.
remote workforces all over the world. Like there was one tech company that I saw. They're like a tax related tech company, and they've got the only time they get together is twice a year when they do a corporate retreat. And wherever you're from, if you're from Denmark, if you're from China, if you're from India, if you're from Denver, if you're from Hawaii, they pick a place. They all come together twice a year for a retreat.
Right.
They come together twice a year to have fun, but their entire workforce was distributed. I don't think I can't say I don't think, I know I had never seen or heard of that before. 2018, he was like, don't write another grant for another nothing. Move everything, had no idea.
What was coming next?
Where everybody else was like, you go into spaces with other nonprofit leaders and all they're talking about is we're getting a bigger building, we're going to start moving into this city, into that city, and we're trying to bring people together here and there, and the only thing God is saying is bring everybody together online.
Mm,
Start looking at hosting more webinars, do some more virtual in 2018 when nobody was talking about this.
right. Right.
We're also a homeschooling family, right? So for us, when things shut down, for our son, it was business as usual. Like
Right.
y'all,
We was doing that yesterday.
this is already what we do. Everybody's talking about, oh, he's gonna be that weird homeschool kid. And the pandemic came and all of y'all got weird homeschool kids.
Right.
You're
Right.
welcome. So
She said, "You're welcome."
so when the pandemic hit, we were not having the same kinds of challenges that other
Right.
nonprofits were having because I heard the voice of God
And you listened.
with something that made no sense to me.
Yes.
And I was like, well, how do I even get the women acclimated to this? And he's like, just start.
Right.
Whoever shows up virtually, just start. No clue. 2 years worth of advance notice, just things that he started preparing me for, systems that he gave me time to put in place.
Yes.
But here's the thing, you didn't have time to do nothing. It's
Oh
just
no, it was like
everything
it was like everybody was in panic mode, running
is
around with chickens with
closed.
they, and everything was closed, and
And
it
good
was
luck.
it was so weird for me because so in 2018 I had quit my job and I started doing the balloon business full time. So I had been home.
Wow.
So I had been home. So everybody start coming home, and then I'm like, why y'all bringing this weird energy to work from home? I'm like, we peaceful over here.
Yeah.
Y'all bringing
Yeah.
that in person energy to
Yeah.
the space. Because y'all still in the system.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
but like you said, it was that time, like ahead of time to have prepared. And it
Mm-hmm.
was it was based on obedience.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was based on obedience. Now I don't want to miss because I know our topic. Now we done talked about some good gems, but I know our topic was biblical rest, and I don't want to miss that.
I think we're there. I think
Oh
everything
yeah.
I feel like we're already like in the we're on the shore of biblical rest, right? Like we're at the beach of biblical rest, just kind of dipping our toes
Correct.
into the water. But if we like put on some snorkeling gear and go out a little farther from the shore, it's something that's been so important to me because again, so I love word studies. Right. When I was growing up, we had to know how to use the dictionary. And
Mm-hmm.
so and so we had those unabridged dictionaries that had all the words in them.
Mm-hmm.
That would tell you like this word is Old English or this word is Greek or this word is Latin or whatever. So I grew up like with a real interest in understanding how words have evolved over time. And so rest is one of those things that if we look at it biblically and the model that God gave us, um, in Genesis, God being God could have blinked his eye and everything would have been created. He gave us a model of doing the work, assessing the work, right? So he creates, he says it's good, and then he waits until the next day to do anything else. Whether that's literal or figurative, right? Because you have different people who believe different things about, okay, well, maybe it wasn't necessarily the next day, as in 24 hours. Um, so many different schools of thought. The whole point is 7 days means 7 days, not a moment.
Correct.
Because it could have said, in a moment, God created everything. And then we don't have an example of a Sabbath.
Right.
He doesn't need rest,
Right.
but he gave us the example. You work, you assess your work, which is extremely, I feel like even at where rest is concerned, that's an important part of doing work. We'll start doing things and we'll just throw it out there. But you work, you assess your work, you rest, and then you repeat.
Right.
There's a reason he said to honor the Sabbath, to keep it holy. That word holy doesn't mean, I feel like in the context of Christian spaces, we tend to throw words around that we don't really have to explain. And that like that's literally the only place that I see that happening, right? Like if you go into the workplace, you can't just say I'm a professional and that mean whatever you want it to mean.
Correct.
You can't just say I'm an expert and that means whatever you want it to mean. But I feel like in Christian spaces, we can say holy, we could say sanctified, we could say consecrated, we could say anointed, and we don't ever have to actually explain what that
What it
means
means. Right.
or even actually demonstrate it.
Right.
That's another podcast altogether, though. But, but,
Oh, Lord have mercy. I'm not look, we
but
gonna stay on top.
from a
I'm not
biblical
gonna go down that bunny trail, not today.
Yeah, we're not gonna go down the rabbit hole. We're gonna stand next to it though, right? It's one of those things we don't have to explain or demonstrate. We just want people to believe that that's what it is. But when he said like holy simply means other, it means different, it means distinct, it means without mixture, it means it's countercultural.
Right.
Honor the Sabbath because it's counterculture, because the world is going to do things the way they do it. And
Correct.
now we have to have whole programs related to helping people come out of, recover from
That
burnout.
part. That part. And you would think that would be enough for us to realize how perverse the way that
That,
we live is.
that.
But it's not. And that was the reason when we were talking, when we were, fleshing out the topic
Mhm.
and that idea of biblical rest, the reason why that was so important to me was I'm like, well, for whatever reason, we so rest resistant. We
Yeah.
like like toddlers, they don't want to take their nap.
They don't want to go to sleep.
That's how we are. We're so rest resistant. I was like, well, maybe if we tell the people that God said it, maybe,
It's a small possibility.
maybe they
Small
might go
possibility
sit
they'll
themselves
receive.
down.
Maybe they'll receive.
Maybe they might restructure how they're functioning because what I know is on the other side of this,
Mm-hmm.
how this feels versus how it used to
How it
feel.
used to feel. But I also think you just said something really powerful, correlating it to how toddlers are resistant. I feel like, again, this is milk and meat, right? Rest should be a milk level, bare minimum, basic. This is just the standard of how we do things.
Correct.
However, I feel like it's kind of become a thing that only mature people are able to do. And I don't know that it was always supposed to be that way. Like it's like this is the bare minimum of the way that you should be building is with ease,
Right.
with rest built into the model.
Right.
Hustle and grind was never God's intention for his people.
Mm-mm. That's a very of the world. That is a
I mean,
very extremely of the world.
that level of choose your words, Cheryl. I'm trying not to offend. I realize that
That's all right. You can step on toes over here.
the
I'm
things
good with
that
it.
we say are offensive because the word of God is offensive, but it's people's responsibility not to be offended.
Correct. I find that in cases where you are offended by something that was of good intention, it
That's a
often
you problem,
speaks
not a me
to
problem.
it often speaks to something that you are not wanting to be accountable for.
Correct. So the topic of rest is offensive because of all that comes with the what ifs, right? So if I put this boundary in place of saying I'm not taking calls after 4:30, well, what if the opportunity that I'm waiting for? No, no, because if it's an opportunity that God gave you, He's going to give you that opportunity within the context of how He orchestrated and how He
Mhm.
planned things, right? If it's always, well, what if I miss out on this thing? We see that with babies. Like our
Mm-hmm.
son,
Yeah, that's why they're not trying to go to sleep. They like this because they think that you about to have the wildest party or whatever it is they think grown-ups do when
and
they
I don't
close
want to
their
miss it.
eyes.
And I don't want to miss it. And
I
you
don't
can't
want to
even
miss
keep
it.
your head up straight. You just falling over in the plate of spaghetti. Like it, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like
Right. No, absolutely.
it's the what if I miss out? But then the problem is you're working yourself to the extent that you can't even think straight. So you're missing out anyway.
That part. Because if it came, you're not in the
You're not ready
capacity.
for it. You're
You
not
don't
going to
have the
make good
capacity.
decisions. You don't. You don't.
All right, I'm about to step on toes. So anybody got to move their toes, move them right now.
Move, go ahead. Take your shoes off first
Look,
before you step on our toes. Take your shoes.
okay, all right. I'm always barefoot, so y'all gonna be all right. But here's the thing. What I heard while you were talking, and I'm not saying that you're saying this, I am saying this, but that
Mhm.
this is the words that came to me when you were talking. Lack of rest is lack of faith.
Oh, it absolutely is. It absolutely is. Okay,
It's
so now
lack
we
of
can take off the snorkel gear and put on scuba gear.
yeah, because we going deep.
You're doing that
We going
because
deep because it's a lack of faith. Because
it's a
if
lack of
you
faith.
believe that God had you,
You would need to be up all night. Not when the Bible says he gives his beloved sleep. He gives us rest. And he controls all of the What did staying up all night actually get you?
That part.
You
That
stayed up
part.
all night and then you got up early. What did it actually get you?
High blood pressure, strokes
You're
and
not eating, you're not sleeping, you're not drinking enough water, you're not exercising.
anxiety and depression.
You
all those
are
lovely
utterly
things.
worried. That's the only reason you up all night. That's the
Mm-mm,
only reason you feel like your team no sleep. I'll
mm-mm.
sleep when I'm dead. Yep.
And when you
And
dead,
you
gonna be
this close
sooner.
to it.
And when you dead, gonna be sooner.
Right.
Now I told you,
It's a,
I told you when we talked, I said, I'm not the, the verses and, I'm not that person. I ain't gonna pretend to be. That's my authentic self, right? But what I will say is, I told you I'm in my peace be still season.
yeah.
And what I will say is the world was ending around them and Jesus was asleep.
In the bottom of the boat.
He was asleep because he
And got up
knew,
and asked them, what y'all worried about?
why did you wake me up? Because he knew who had him. And so I shall repeat, lack of rest is
It's
a
a
lack
lack
of
of faith.
faith.
It's a lack of faith. Now, I'm not saying swing the pendulum way on the other side
No,
to
no,
the
no.
point where
I've
you're
seen
doing absolutely nothing,
now
right?
I seen what
Not
that
saying
looks
that.
like too. No, you still have a responsibility to
You
walk
have
in
a
obedience to
responsibility.
God.
That's right. You have a
You have a
responsibility
responsibility to
to
walk in
take.
obedience to God. Rest is not um the scapegoat that you're gonna use
That's right.
to
That's right.
not
I'm
be
gonna go to
obedient.
sleep and just God's gonna handle it. No,
No,
no.
but know that even in the moments that it does not feel certain, that God still got you. But
There's still work on your part
he
that's
still
required to be done.
requires you to move in obedience. You know, uh, Jesus was working the whole entire time he was
The
on this
whole
beautiful
time.
earth.
The whole time.
But in several instances, Jesus was resting.
I think that's such an important thing for us to realize. He was on his earthly ministry only lasted 3 years. He was 33 when he
Right.
died. And what's in the book is 3 years worth of information. John said in the Gospel of John, we couldn't even, if we tried to write down everything he did, there's not enough ink and paper in the whole world to contain the books that could be written of somebody who's 3 years.
Right.
We see his birth, we see him at 12, and we don't see anything else about him until he's 30 years old. And everything we see that he does, this man took breaks.
Yes.
He took naps.
Yes.
He took time to separate himself from everybody and go and spend time with the Father, whatever that may have looked like. Most of the time, of course, we know that that looked like prayer, but rest was a deeply ingrained aspect of his ministry.
Yes.
If he's doing all of that and he did more in 3 years than you've been trying to do over the last 10, you need to just go to sleep. Go to
And
sleep, baby.
and this sounds unconventional. I know you're gonna understand it, but I'm this is for the audience. This
Hmm.
sounds unconventional, like you said. In that 3 years, his level of productivity was extremely high,
It was
right?
extremely high.
Okay, here's the thing. When you rest, you can do more. It's more focused. And when we say rest, again, we're not just talking about going lay down
Going to
and taking a
sleep.
nap.
Hmm.
We're talking about building a life that is restful,
Yes.
that there is the lack of, the unnecessary turmoil,
Yes.
the unnecessary baggage, right?
And constant urgency.
The constant urgency where um your you are regulated. You are not, your nervous system is regulated. We're talking about all of those things.
Yes. Yes.
I'm working on a book right now, and it's all about, like, you know how people will say, "Oh, you do everything."
Mm,
And the reality is, it looks like that, right? Like you said, in that 3 years, Jesus did so much.
so much.
But you know how he did so much? Because he only did the stuff that he was supposed to do. When you peel back all of those layers, you know, I
You
do
peel it
calendar
back.
detox with my clients.
Yeah.
When you
Yeah.
peel back all of those layers and just focus on the assignment, you execute. A big part of why you're not executing is one, you're not resting,
Yeah.
and two, you got too many distractions
Yeah.
in the mix that have absolutely nothing to do with what you were assigned to do.
Where I love the fact that, like, just in talking about Jesus's earthly ministry and how rest looked for him beyond naps, beyond going off and spending time by himself, there were times that they were like, okay, show us something, show us what you could do. And he was like, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. You want a miracle just for the sake of a miracle. I don't do that.
It's not performative.
That's not what I do. So why do we keep doing that? Because if you think about it
Ah,
culturally, for business owners, we have to be on at all times. You're a lie. I'm not doing that.
mm-mm,
I believe when I'm working with business owners, especially people who are trying to pivot out of systems that they know that aren't working for them, that they don't realize the reason it's not working for you is because you're trying to be what you see everybody else doing. You teach people how to engage with you.
right.
I understand the whole need for visibility, that if they don't know that you're there, they can't buy from you. But I'm not, a light bulb will burn out if you leave it on all day.
That part.
What do you think will happen to you as a person, that I constantly have to show up on social media and I constantly have to be on top of every trend? Let's be clear. There are what, like 9 billion people on the planet. For whoever, whatever percentage of that is on social media, they're not all in the United States.
Right.
Everybody is using these platforms differently.
Correct.
It's
And
not possible for you to keep up with every single trend. It's
I
not
think
possible for you to keep up with an algorithm that's designed to work against you.
what I think part of it is also, again, alignment and understanding what your mission is, right? Because the reason why I said it is, okay, I'm gonna use the balloon business as an example because it comes up more, not more, but I could more clearly make an example, right?
Mhm.
So in the balloon business, there are balloon artists and
Okay.
there are balloon influencers.
I can see how that would be different. Okay. Okay.
Okay, so what I've seen as a trend is balloon artists are now following the trends of balloon influencers. You have two different goals.
Right.
As a
Right.
balloon artist, you are selling to an end consumer, whether that's a company or an individual person.
Mm-hmm.
As a
Mm-hmm.
balloon influencer, you are making your money off of the videos and
YouTube,
the
social media.
followers and all of this
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
So your objectives are different. But you just are seeing this little shiny object over here. And so now you're trying to come over here with it. Your audience don't care nothing about,
They
like, the
don't.
influencers are showing balloon tips and all of these other things. Your client will buy a finished product
That's
from
what they
you.
want. Right.
They do not care about the latest TikTok trend or this, that, and the other, unless you have a sometimes there's a crossover when you have a personal, if you do personal events, there might be a little bit of a crossover
Mm-hmm.
depending on who your audience is.
Right.
But have that clarity. I don't feel like as a balloon artist or as a coach that nobody looking for me to be bopping around lip syncing
Because
to
why are we doing that? Because
a
why are we
video
doing that?
that don't
Why are
have
we
nothing to
doing
do
that?
with what I'm doing
Nothing.
over here.
Nothing.
And
But
what
if it's
what
performative,
will
if I have to
going
turn a bunch of tricks,
right
if I
and
got to
what
turn
will
a bunch of tricks,
going viral for doing that do for my business? Because I don't want it. If
and
you came over
and
here for me to
again,
bop and dance, then you
you can go
came to the
somewhere
wrong
else.
place.
Yeah, yeah. And we're constantly chasing, it's the vanity metrics
Mm-hmm.
that are always going to change. What going viral meant 10 years ago is not the same as what going viral means, especially because people's attention spans are short.
Right.
Don't have time to compete with people who don't, like, you can't even focus.
Correct.
You can't even focus. You can't even pay attention to one thing at a time.
Mm-mm. It's just scroll, scroll, scroll. And
That's all.
it that's a part of unrest as well. Like, as the consumer of that.
And the fact that you feel like you have to show up in that sea of information,
Right.
right? When social media constantly changes, Instagram changes how you show up to people who follow you.
Right.
I followed you because I want to see what you do. I followed you because I want to go wherever you're leading.
Correct.
We've got to treat words the way that they're intended to mean. I don't know. Like, I feel like it turned into, oh, I've got followers, but none of them are paying you.
Right. Because
You have followers, but you're not actually leading them anywhere.
there's
So
not a connect. It's a circus. It's
that's
just
all.
performative. And I
That's
mean, it's
all.
like, you know,
On a platform you don't own, that you don't control how you even show up in the circus,
and now you've added another
or if
layer.
you show up in the circus. Let's be
But now
clear.
you've added another layer of things that you're doing,
Now
right?
it's another
Like,
something.
use it as a tool, not the other way around. Like you should be running
It's
it
using you.
instead of it using
It's
you,
using
right?
you.
You need to be running it. Show up the same way that you would show up if a customer walked in your door at a brick and
Right.
mortar.
Right.
That is how you should be showing up in all spaces.
Right.
And it's not tiring because it's just you.
And it comes from a flow.
Right.
It comes from a flow. It
Right.
comes from decisions that you have made to not try to compete with billions of other people who are all vying for attention. They're like you said, making that distinction between the balloon artist and the balloon influencer. You said that, and it made me think. I promise you, I feel like almost anything anybody says, I could probably find a way to point it back to the Bible.
But you know what?
But
I absolutely love it. I'm like, because I hope you know I was gonna ask you when we were done, like, do you have a Bible study? Like, I just want to go
so,
sit. Like, because okay, so I'm an analogy girl. Like, I love
yes,
making connections
making connections.
of things. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I'm like,
So the
go.
connection I would make to that is the difference between John the Baptist and Jesus. Despite the fact that they were cousins, right? They grew up close together. Their roles were completely different, right? It when you read the scriptures, and John the Baptist is very clear, he does not have an identity crisis whatsoever. I am not the light you're looking for. I am here to point you to the light.
Right,
And the Bible says when Jesus, when the ministry actually started, there's a moment where he's like, oh, by the way, there he is. And John's disciples left and followed him. They left and followed Jesus, and John was unbothered because
right,
that was what my assignment was.
right, right,
I'm here to talk to you about one that's coming.
right,
I'm not him.
right, right,
Don't look for from me what only he can give you.
That part.
And once Jesus showed up, John was like, there he is. Go follow him. That was the whole point. I hear the same thing when you talk about the differences between one style of business and another style of business that's in the same industry.
Right.
You're both in the balloon industry, but you've got to know what your intention and what your actual assignment is. If people are looking for you to be that, you have a responsibility to tell them, I'm not that.
Right. That's
If
not
that's
me.
what you're looking for, there's a lot of that out there. Go find it. But you are not going to get that from me. And I'm not going to be stretching myself so thin that I leave myself on like a light bulb all day. I'm not doing it. I
Right.
am not doing it. And I think too, like the other side of that, where when we talk about the intentionality of biblical rest is understanding God made us all different.
Correct.
Right. If we just bare minimum talk about the differences between extroverts and introverts. As an introvert, I am burned out by peopling too much.
Look,
Okay.
I
I
look, I
know
have to take a day off if I'm like, oh, that was a lot this
I
week. What were
need
you
the time
thinking?
to reset. Like I can show
Yes,
up the way I'm supposed to show up for the
yes,
people God
yes.
called me to in the ways that He called me. But when that's done, I'm going to get under the bed. Like don't look for me.
Mm-mm.
I need
And
the time to reset. So I can't show up on, so no.
mm-mm.
And it's like, oh, well, you need to be wherever the people are. I don't. I believe God will help them find me.
But I need to be the version of myself
That's what I need.
that can receive the people, right?
That's what I need.
Because again, that goes back to that understanding the weight of the responsibility. And in understanding the weight of the responsibility, I know that I need to have myself together because if I'm being truthful, and I think it's partially because I'm an introvert. I think it's partially, just being in service.
That's
It
good.
it is draining. And it's not, I don't know if draining is the word I want to use because it's not a negative thing,
But
but
you're pouring
right.
to the people who need what you have.
And
And
I
so
gotta go refill.
you've got to refill.
I
Yes.
have to refill so I can be back and
Yes.
be what needs to be,
Yes.
because I met me before and they
Mhm.
got a filtered version of myself and they got an unfiltered version of myself. And tired me loses a little bit of that filter, right?
Yeah.
And that filter is the care and compassion that God wants me to give
That makes you your best self.
that part.
Yeah.
And so when that has run out, I need to recharge. I need to recharge. And I don't want to burn out on something that I love
Yeah.
because
Because it turns into resentment. I've seen that time and time and time again. Like that's a thing that a lot of, especially lately, I've noticed a lot of the women that I consult, it's this became something that I didn't want it to be. I've had people, one or two people over the last year and a half tell me they'd rather put all of the, I just want to sell everything and go back to work in somebody's job.
mm. And I've had that a couple of people.
And I'm
And
talking about profitable businesses.
yeah, I've had it happen. And it's just like, it's sad because
It's
it's sad when
sad.
you know the person's desire. Because sometimes, things don't work out and that's fine.
That's
But
different. But when
but
it's
but when I know
successful,
that you love this thing,
yeah. And it's working. But
yes,
it's only working because you became something that you didn't want to be for a group of people you never intended to serve, who expect you to jump through hoops and entertain them.
Correct.
Because if we're serious about what the majority of the platforms that we keep trying to show up on, the majority of the people who are there are not there for what you have.
Mm-mm. They're there for
They want to
entertainment.
be entertained.
They're there for entertainment.
So you're now not even taking yourself seriously about how you show up because you're trying to gather people in the hopes that something that you say, something that you do will stop them from scrolling, right? Because that's now the new thing is
Mm-hmm.
creating scroll stopping captions. They're not reading all that stuff, baby. They're not reading that.
Mm-mm. But the thing that the other side of that is, because there's some people on social media that I really like, I enjoy, their content. I look forward to their content.
Yes, yes.
And the the thing is that when those people get caught up in the trend,
Come on.
then all of a sudden I don't really like you no more.
Yeah, and
You
now
know
you
what I'm
get an
saying? Like
unfollow.
yeah, you lost your sheep. You out here chasing wolves and stuff, and you lost your sheep.
And the unfortunate thing, so this is why I said what I said earlier about the whole followers thing. That is so good. You lost me and you never looked around because you said you cared, right? You
Right,
said I mattered. You
right,
lost me and you never actually even realized I was gone.
right, right.
So where all of this boils down to in essence is really helping people understand that you have permission to do it differently.
Yeah.
You do. You have permission to do it differently. You have permission from God.
Yes.
You
And
have
who
permission
and
from
who
the
is
one
higher than that?
you
Like
have permission from the one who made the person who created this whole social media things. You
who
have permission to do it differently. You have permission to be yourself. You have permission to be, authentically you. You have permission to give yourself a break. You have permission to say, no, I'm not doing that. You have permission to say, no, I'm not going to do it the way everyone else is doing it, right? So even if you show up, so let's be clear, both of us are on social media, right?
right?
I would not, I didn't realize that. My bad.
It's
I
all right. No,
would not, I
I
would
come
not
on,
be,
keep your thought. Keep your thought. I don't want you to lose your thought.
I would not, here's the thing, I wouldn't have followed you if
Right,
what you do, if what you say didn't add value to my life.
right, right,
At any point in time on both sides,
right,
you have permission
right.
to unfollow
To
people.
disconnect.
You have permission to do that. It creates less and it's a way of designing rest into your life, right?
Yes.
I started recently, and when I say recently, I literally mean at 7:30 last night. Like you started talking about the book you're working on. I don't know what direction he's going to want this to go in. I don't know if it's going to be an ebook or an email series because I feel like it's a lot, it's meatier than what one email would be able to do, right?
Right,
So like
right,
I
right.
sat and started drafting out the newsletter and I was like, no, this is bigger than this, of really helping people understand that part of rest looks like you not needing everybody to know, like, and trust you.
That part.
What if? What if
That
you don't
part.
need everybody?
Well, I
to
mean,
know
there's
like
some people that no matter what you do,
they're not going to do either of those three things.
they're not, and you gotta be good with that. They're gonna be some
Because
people that misrepresent you. No
yes,
matter how good you are of a person,
yes.
you're the villain in somebody's story.
So they may know you, they may like you, they may trust you and still never buy from you.
Correct.
But if here's the thing, which goes back to what you said before about the metrics that we use. If the entirety of the end goal, which these days, let's be truthful, in 2025, the entirety of everybody's end goal is let's make money.
Right.
All of the strategies that everybody's using, all of the tactics that everybody's using, all of the stuff that all of the gurus are telling everybody, the end result is let's make money. What if our end result was, am I building the life God designed for me?
Mm,
That changes the metric altogether. Because
mm,
now I have to decide if he thinks I'm successful if I'm not resting.
that part.
Am I successful if I'm not doing what I would dare say is a simple thing? Rest should be simple.
It should be.
We're not AI, we're not robots. We're not like I several years ago I did this coaching program slash course on um productivity and realized that the word, just in doing the research for the course, the word multitask was first used to describe computers.
Right. Right.
When I found that out, and it sounds like such a small thing, right?
But it's huge because so this is the thing that I think people miss about rest. A big part of why you're not in a state of rest is because of your mental load. And the way that the falsehood of multitasking F's with your mental load, you got all kind of parts and pieces. Like I'll use myself for example. I have three big projects, really four, if I'm being
Mhm.
honest, that are coming up that I'm in the like planning and like, prepping stage for.
Okay. Hmm.
For various reasons, like, you do this step and then you got to wait on somebody or you do that step. So for various reasons, it's like I got all these open tabs, so to
Yeah.
speak,
Yeah.
both, physically and mentally.
Physically and mentally.
And I sat there the other day and said to my husband, I said, I think right now I'm just kind of like frozen because I just want to do one thing and finish it. And right now, that's not a reality. And so those situations are going to happen,
Hmm.
but we encourage them as a
Yeah.
society and culture, and we make them a thing when they're not really a
When they're
thing.
not, they don't need to be a thing. So to your point of having multiple tabs open, where this looks, the way you make this look where rest is concerned is giving yourself permission to bypass and come out of agreement with the myth of balance.
Right.
Balance is not real. What we need instead of balance is blend. Okay.
Okay. All right. I'll go with that. I
Balance,
get a little, I'm like, I'm like, I don't know. I coach on balance, but I agree.
balance
I agree with
implies
you.
balance implies that everything needs the same amount of attention at the same time, all the time, with the same level of intensity. Where blend is giving the necessary amount of action, attention, and activity to different things depending on the season you're in. Okay. So
Okay.
take children, for example, because we both have kids. When our son, I'm gonna use Braxton as the example. He'll be 13 on the 19th of this month, which is next Tuesday, interestingly enough. But he's such a just his personality is just really laid back, really, he's not the kind of kid that by nature required a lot of a I don't want to say a lot of attention, but a lot of the kind of attention that you tend to have to give most kids, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
if there was a coin on the floor, if there was a penny on the floor, we've literally never had to work. Braxton was gonna pick up the penny and bring it to one of us.
That was my child. That was my child.
Versus
Hmm.
other kids, they're gonna take that money and put it in their mouths.
Correct. Yeah,
Because
no, he was
apparently
an infant finding little like stick pins and being like, here,
here, yes.
that yeah,
So when you consider your children, when you're raising them, they need a different level of attention when they first come home as babies, right? When the only response they have to the entirety of all of their needs and frustrations is to cry.
right.
Okay. Versus by the time they're 5, by the time they're 6, by the time they're 10, for him now about to be 13, the attention and activity that he needs from us as parents is different. If I try to parent him at 13 with the same kind of hovering attention that he needed when he was an infant, we tend to treat everything with the same level of urgency when we
Yeah,
try to have balance,
yeah.
right? So I think it not even just in using the word balance so much as in how, because like I've heard some of the things that you've done and how you present balance to women, to busy women, to women who are moms, to women who are moms and business owners. You're a mom and a business owner and a wife. There are only 24 hours in a day.
That part. Like that part. And
You
you, yeah,
cannot
but I
be
totally agree with you.
everything
I
to
love that
everybody. Like
idea
I've
of
heard how you present it. And so even though we're using two different words, conceptually, we're
right,
saying the
right,
same thing.
right,
Versus
correct.
other coaches that I have seen that have immediately gotten an unsubscribe and an unfollow because again, I can't give the same level of attention, the same level of
Mm-mm,
intensity to every level, to every aspect
mm-mm.
of my life. And I shouldn't have to.
No, you're absolutely right. I totally agree. I think that does is off-putting to me. Like the how I even got here in the first place, a big
Mhm,
part of it. I mean, it's a longer story, but a big
mhm.
part of it was you know, not long after I had left my job and I'm doing the business full time, I go to this women's conference and they're doing like a panel discussion and it's all of these women, they got the CVS receipts of accomplishments and they doing, all the things, right? And everybody's asking, well, how do you do it all? How do you do it all? And every
Mhm.
single person gave, in my opinion, the saddest answer of, well, I wake up at
Oh,
4 o'clock in the morning before everybody,
no,
and
ma'am.
then, and I'm like, why is it that I have to sacrifice more of my time so that I can do all of these things? First of all, why do I want to do all these things? That's question one. Because some of these things, what am I doing them
Okay.
for?
Okay. Because that's a
And
motives
who
issue.
am I doing them for?
That's a motives issue. You
You know what I'm
can't rest
saying?
because your motives are off.
Right. So I don't care about being on 80/12 boards. I don't care about like that's not a part of my success story. Like when
Yeah.
I look at what I feel success looks like, you know what? That ain't a part of it. So let's
Yeah.
pull that off. Let's pull
Yeah.
all them things off that really at the end of the day, again, vanity metrics. Not
Yes.
doing it. Pull them
Mhm.
off. Okay, then from there, like you said, everything don't need the same amount of time. But my thing about like when people say there's no such thing as balance, Did you try to
You
put any
haven't tried.
attention on
Yeah.
any other thing other than work, 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 work? Have you tried? Like, because the reason why your work is successful and nothing else is because you have put all your energy, all your planning, all your everything goes there. When the last time you sat down and said, you know what, I'm gonna be intentional about my family time.
Hmm.
I'm gonna be intentional about my time with God.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna be intentional about, and I mean, you know, everybody experiences God differently. You might go sit in church on Sunday, but what you doing with that on, God is an everyday thing.
The other 6 days of the week.
God is an everyday thing. So, like I started to become very intentional about that. Like when I was working a job and I was like, oh Lord, I don't want to be here no more,
Yeah. Yeah.
I started being intentional about it. I said, you know what? Every morning, 10 minutes every morning when I got into work, put my stuff down, go fix myself a cup of tea because I'm a tea girl
Hmm.
and have my tea. I didn't turn on the people computer. I didn't do nothing. That 10 minutes, that's me, God, and setting intentions for the day. And even after I left the job, I still do that.
Can I tell you why I love that you did it that way?
Go ahead.
Because you could have done that before you left the house.
Hmm.
There's a different level of intentionality for you to get to the workplace and build God an altar at work.
That part, because look, he needed to be there.
That's that's something that's so before I turn on the computer, I'm going to build you an altar right here at my job. Not on the commute,
Mm-mm.
not before I leave the house. And I don't say this, condemning anyone and how they do it, but I feel like there's a different measure of intentionality there for the fact that you brought him with you and said, you get this part of my day
Right.
before the people who pay me get this part of my day.
Correct. Because you, I need you to help guide me in how to move. And, I think I shared this with you when we were talking before. My grandmother used to always say, thy will be done.
Yeah.
And um my grandmother converted to Catholic because she was married to my grandfather and she didn't
Mhm.
want the kids confused between going back and forth. But
Yeah.
she was Baptist and then people Catholic church.
Come on.
I mean, so I grew up in both faiths,
In both,
because
yeah,
she look,
with
she was
both
just
expressions.
with
Yeah.
her big hat on in them people church.
Oh, I love all things about that.
Yes, I mean, and she taught me to have a very different relationship with God.
Yeah.
Because of being seeing that duality gave me permission to question and to find my own
And to
answers.
find the answers that he had for you. Exactly.
And so she would say when they would do the responsorial, they always had something you were supposed to say after each prayer. Like each week, it might change from week
Okay.
to week or
Hmm.
whatever. If they didn't have something special, the default was Lord, hear my prayers.
Okay.
And she was sitting in people church and she would just say, thy will be done.
Mm.
And one day I asked her about that and I said, well, why because I just, she always, she just was that person. She gonna be who she gonna be wherever
Yeah.
she is.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, why you gotta be so contrary and speak out of turn in them people church? What you doing? And she said, we spend too much time telling God what to do. The only true prayer is, thy will be done.
We spend too much time telling the one who made us what we want him to do for us.
That part. And, it's so many lessons that I have from my grandmother. But as I get older, they become so much richer. And I realized that, I know that people say, say a prayer, make it plain, and all of this stuff like that. But what I also know is the vision that he has for us is so much greater than anything that we could ever
Yes,
imagine.
yes.
And I'm sure he got to be, I just assume God have a sense of humor. I hope so, because
I do
otherwise I
too.
got problems. But he got to be sitting up there laughing like, he had, if we're going to just bring it to a simple example of money, he had $1 million in the back pocket, and we came in and asked for 1,000, and he's like, okay,
I know.
like,
If that's
okay,
all you want,
if that's all you want.
that's all you want. And I feel like even where building businesses, building careers, especially for us who are, so like I'm almost 50. Um, I really believe that we, I'm gonna say it that way. I feel like anybody over 40 needs a different, you need something different.
Yeah,
You need something different because you're going to burn yourself out.
yeah.
Like at 40, you're closer to 80 than you were to 20. So,
You ain't had to say it like that, but
right?
okay.
Like you're
Okay. Look, let me shift around in the
you
chair like
need
you.
something different. You
Yes.
need something
Yes.
different. And so for that reason, rest has to be a part of the strategy you employ
Yeah.
as you're building. It has to be. Even if we take how building a building, like just like you can't lay the foundation and build a skyscraper the same day.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
You can't.
Mm-mm.
You've got to lay a foundation, give it time to cure, and then wait. And
Yeah.
then not only that, you got to give an inspector time enough to come check out the foundation to make sure it's
Right.
going to do everything it's supposed to do. We are in, so again, the second part of this is we want to bypass process. And
Ooh,
so the lack of rest is number one, like you said, the lack of faith, but it's also the lack of enduring process.
that part.
Because some stuff just takes time, and you staying up all night doesn't make it go
It's
faster.
not gonna make it go faster. It's absolutely not. And I always come out of rest with the best idea.
With better ideas.
With the best idea. Sometimes I go to sleep and dream and I'm like, Lord, yep, that's it right there. Like that piece that was
Come
missing.
on. Come on.
I tell people all the time, you can't dream if you never sleep.
Oh,
You gotta, you have to change how you move. And it does make it easier.
it does.
Like it's still gonna be work. It's still gonna be, it's still
Yeah.
gonna be things that you like get anxious about.
Yeah.
It's still gonna be all
Yeah.
those things. But it's so much easier when you have rest and when you have peace. Because when you don't, again, it's like, okay, like you said, the light bulb that's always on. Think
Mhm.
about like your computer, like you keep it always running. And if you don't ever turn it off,
Mhm. Yeah.
it'll start acting wiggy
Yeah. Yeah.
because it's just been on all the
Yeah.
time. And what you don't realize is like, every so often I'll share this meme where it's like talking about like the entrepreneur's mind never shuts off. Mine does.
It does. It needs to.
It
It needs
does,
to.
but it's because you haven't been intentional about rest and restfulness. Because again, I don't want y'all to think when we say rest, we just talking about taking a nap,
Yeah.
but rest as something that is integral to your daily life
Part of the strategy.
is part of the strategy. If you
It's
have
not the
not,
thing I do just because I'm tired.
no, actually, I do it so I
I do
don't
it
get
so I don't
tired.
get tired.
so I don't get tired. Like, I know it's coming. Like, there've been days where I'm like, oh, I look at the calendar and I'm like, oh, let me squeeze a nap in right here because once, 1 o'clock hits, it's gonna be bam, for the rest of the day. So let me get my rest now
Yeah,
so that I can be the best version of myself for the rest of
yeah,
this day.
yeah,
Or,
yeah.
I got like a million my grandma stories. My grandmother used to say, and now it's a running joke between me and my husband. Like if she was cooking, she loved to cook. If she was cooking and she been in that kitchen for forever and she'll drop the pot holder or she dropped a knife or she dropped
Mhm.
something. She said, "Oh Lord, I done went to dropping stuff. I got to go sit down." And I didn't understand how profound that was. It was just a
Until you
statement.
see it, oh, mm, yeah,
And
I'm
now I'm
dropping stuff in
like,
other areas of my life.
that's
I need
the
to go sit down.
reality. Because when you are moving tired, you make mistakes.
So
It
good.
takes longer. Everything you trying to get that brain to go, and that brain is like, girl, girl.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
so it rest is just important. And it's
right.
not a privilege. It's just a part of how you supposed to be.
That's what you're supposed to do. So when we treat it, so to your point here, when we treat it like it's a privilege, when we treat it like it's a luxury, we treat rest like it's something we have to earn,
Right,
as opposed to it being something that we use as strategy.
right.
If we don't look at it like I've told people, I treat rest like it's a weapon.
Yeah,
I treat it like it's a weapon. I'm not going to let unrest creep up on me.
right.
I'm not going to let burnout creep up on me. I'm not going to let overwhelm creep up on me. Rest in every aspect, in every facet. So physical rest, mental rest, social rest, spiritual rest. Every aspect where my life is concerned, there is an element of rest that comes with it,
Yeah,
right? If you're a person who does intermittent fasting, you're giving your body a break from food,
right.
right? Um, it so there's if we treat and we that's been the thing, right, is that we treat rest like it's something that we have to earn. If I did well enough, then I'll take a break.
Mm-hmm.
But you're miserable in life.
That part.
You're miserable in life
That part. And you,
because you keep going and you keep going and you keep doing and you keep striving for things that you see in other people's hands. So let's deal with that. You keep striving for things that you see in other people's hands in the highlight reels of social media,
oof.
right? The thing that you don't realize, especially for us as women, because I don't know if it's a thing for men. I may need to find out, but I know for women, we don't tell the backstory behind what led to this picture or
Right.
behind what led to this reel looking so good, right? So you're trying to mimic people's lives, not knowing that her husband doesn't even really like her because he didn't want her to be an influencer.
That part.
Her kids are sick of taking pictures.
That part.
They're tired of always being on social. They're tired of going into Walmart and people know who they are
Because they're
and we
all
don't
over the
even
social.
know you because you all over everything
Right. That like like you said, and I always talk about that, like not even just social media in life.
in
We
life.
see people's highlight reels. People not nobody's gonna be like, you know what? I cried for 40 hours.
They don't say that. No,
Nobody's going
indeed.
to say that.
No,
Nobody
indeed.
is
Not when they
doing
making
that.
seven figures. Not when they making seven figures and they want to show you how. They're not going to
Nobody's
tell you that
bringing that to the forefront.
at all.
And so the reality is, and then I'm gonna be honest, even the people who do post their journey in an authentic way, y'all ain't even paying attention. The reality is there's certain people, most people pay attention once a person has made it.
Right.
They don't know what the journey was
They don't.
to making it.
They
And so
don't.
then all of a sudden, you gonna be a such and such because this person, and I'm switching gears to the people that actually have done the thing, right?
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
saw the person do the thing, and now you want to do the thing because somebody got receipts that they did X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
You missed the 10 years.
You missed all of that. All
You
of that.
you saw the 15 minutes, you missed the 10
Yeah.
years.
Yeah. You missed when it didn't work and nobody knew who they were. You missed that they started this over 5 times.
Right. You missed all of
You
that.
missed all of that.
But you think you just going, I call them ramen noodles business. You're going to just add some hot water and all of a
Yeah.
sudden
Yeah.
it's going to be a success. That's not how
Yeah.
this
You
goes.
call it ramen noodles. I call it Amazon Prime. That's
There you
funny.
go. But that's how it
Yeah.
doesn't work like that.
Oh,
These things have been in the making sometimes even before the person knew the business was a business, right? There
it
was
was just,
still
I'm helping people.
I'm helping
Helping
people.
people.
They might not even like
They didn't even see it that way. They didn't even see it
somebody
as viable for income.
somebody asked me, when did you become a coach? And I said when I was born.
It's just
If I'm
always been in
being
us.
if
Yeah.
I'm being honest,
Yeah. It's the
since I
David and Goliath. It's David and Goliath. You didn't see David kill bears and lions. We know he did it because there's a verse in there that says he did, but we don't have the story.
you wasn't
We
there.
have David killed Goliath.
Right. And so
You don't
that
know all the rest of it.
right, that sounds, not
Great.
saying that wasn't a great event. I'm just saying, but it
But the
sounds
practice of killing lions and bears was what
yes,
gave him the courage to
correct,
say, I can kill this dude.
correct.
That's what
And
gave him the courage.
earlier you mentioned like the process, and we
We don't
want
want
to
that.
skip the process, but the process is important. Being an entrepreneur is far more about your personal journey than it
Mm,
is about anything else
it is. It is.
because you got to work through your stuff.
You have to. You
You
have
have to
to
work through your stuff, and that's what the process is for. The process is designed
to get all of that out of you.
to get it out your system because the Lord said that you are going to greatness. And I got to make sure that
That
you,
the person who gets to greatness isn't going to lord it over everybody when they get there. I cannot tell you, oh, what you are saying right now is so important, and it doesn't take us away from the topic of rest. But I can't tell you how many business owners I know that went into business because somebody said they couldn't. Because your third grade teacher said you weren't going to be anybody, right? Like your aunt told you that you were the black sheep of the family, so you decided to start a business, and now you just gonna show everybody.
but here's the thing. You so worried about what them people said. What about what God said? Because God told you was going to be great when you were born.
Period. It's a part of your DNA,
And so,
not resume, not the
no,
resume.
no, 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 no.
Greatness is a part of your
Your
DNA.
DNA,
It's your birthright.
you came here with it.
You
All
came
he
here
said is
great.
that I just need you to be the most you that you ever been.
That
And that has nothing to do with man and what their expectations, what it looks like to them.
doesn't.
The most freeing thing in the world to me is when I stop caring about what anybody else thinks.
Yeah, yeah. Because you don't have to walk my walk.
Mm-mm. I only have one responsibility of pleasing, and that's God.
You don't have to walk the walk that I have to walk. And so, because of that, even where rest is concerned, it looks different for all of us,
Right.
right? So rest creates restoration. Because of that, some people may not need as much rest in one area
Right. Right.
compared to another person. So even with that, you've got to find what works for you
Correct.
on the
Correct.
basis of what your capacity is, right? The example that I like to use when I'm talking to people about capacity is a literal vessel, right? So you have people who, like, I know like the cups that come with NyQuil. I think that's like a
Mm-hmm.
30 milliliter container. You are not less valuable at 30 milliliters than Coach Danny, who may be a keg, right? But your 30 milliliters needs to be 30 milliliters. Like you need to be maxing out whatever your capacity is.
Right. Right.
At the same time, at 30 milliliters, it may take less rest for you in certain areas compared to Coach Danny as a keg, who when she pours, if she's pouring into 30 milliliters, she has to be careful because to pick up a keg and pour it into 30 milliliters, that cup is gonna fall apart. It's gonna be like throwing you in the ocean,
Right.
expecting you to carry everything that Coach Danny has. Likewise, where rest comes in for a keg, or even where refilling comes in, like if we're talking about in the context of relationship, if you're 30 milliliters and Coach Danny is a keg, you're going to be burned out trying to refill her.
Correct.
Picture taking a 30 milliliter cup, trying to
You just
refill.
sitting up there with this little cup, just pouring and pouring, and
Your capacity is going to be limited. So you can't get mad then with people who are kegs who need people that have a higher capacity around them.
right.
That's
Right.
like relate where relational rest is concerned. It can be annoying for keg-sized people. It can be annoying. I am actively raising my hand. It can be annoying
No,
for a
it definitely is
keg-sized
because it's
person
like because you
to be
like
around milliliter people.
like all you got is this drip drop. That's it. And
That I have to go elsewhere to get what I need relationally because I've got more for you than you have for me.
correct, correct, and that can be a struggle. But I think a part of it is that awareness.
It's the awareness. It's the awareness. You need people around you with higher capacities than you have in order to enter into relational rest, because otherwise you are going to find yourself very, very frustrated with the people who are around you. And it's not your fault that all you carry is 30 milliliters,
Right.
unless and until you decide you maybe want to be a teacup
Correct.
where you're expanding your capacity. But everybody doesn't want their capacity expanded. And
Right.
that's okay, but don't get mad with me when I don't want to constantly be around low capacity people, because it doesn't create there's a need, right, for me to be around low capacity people, because I understand that part of my assignment in this earth is to stretch people's capacity.
Right. Right.
I don't People don't connect with me who don't want more.
Right.
And I've had to come to an understanding that that's just the truth of, like, I can see things in you that you've never seen in yourself. But if you don't want that, you're gonna be
You got
like,
to
okay,
be
it
good
was
with it.
cool meeting you, and you're gonna move on.
Right.
Because I'm gonna get it out of you.
Right.
I know that about
No,
me.
no, and look, I totally like. I'm like,
I'm gonna
yep.
get it out of you. If you stick around, we're gonna get things out of you that you didn't realize was in you. So your capacity is gonna expand. You're gonna stretch. However, you would also need to understand that for me, where rest is concerned, I have to go to people who know more than I know. I have to go to people who have the capacity to handle who I am as a person, right? I don't think we talk enough, like the fact that you started out by saying this isn't just about sleep. I don't think we talk enough about the need for relational rest.
Yes.
especially if you're in the
Yes.
coaching space, especially if you're a consultant,
Yes.
because you are constantly giving people what you have.
Right.
And then if you're a high capacity person who's always giving other people what you have to have people around you that have more than you.
Yes.
So you are able to be refilled.
Yes. Yes. And I think to that note, like, I said I can turn my entrepreneur brain off.
Hmm.
I don't know that I can turn my coaching brain off. In the sense of, that is just a natural exchange.
Yes.
And so I love what you just said because it is true. Like, not everybody is able to handle that, right?
Because part of what we do as coaches is we help people ask better questions.
Yes.
We help people ask better questions. So making the distinction for people who may not know the difference. A consultant provides answers. Coaches give you questions. They help you ask better questions that help to elevate your site, that help you evaluate where you are. How did I get there? Why am I still here? Do
Right.
I actually want to move?
That part.
Right?
Look,
And so, because of that, even in just the most casual conversations, I'm gonna ask you a question that you're gonna be ready to hang up the phone.
right, because you like, I was just calling the vent. You called the wrong
You
person.
called the wrong person. You talk to other people before
You
you talk
dialed
to
you
me.
dialed the wrong number. I'm
Yeah,
so sorry. Like,
yeah,
I don't know how to operate in this way.
no,
But I love also the other part of it, and I think that that's where sometimes the frustration comes in is when
mhm.
you don't build that other community. When you don't build
Yeah,
that community of peers, right? And then of those that are further than you, when you don't
right.
have that, like, for a very long time, I did not have that. And it was like, I'm like, man, I would love to be in a like situation where somebody doing the things for me that I'm doing
That
for
I'm doing for others. Yeah,
everyone else. I'm
yeah,
like, it would be times that I'm in, like, I wasn't even in the role of coach, right? I'm not in the role of consultant. I'm just sitting here minding my own business in some kind of way. I still ended up pouring.
yeah,
And so that's why I'm so grateful for in this season of my life, having so many other amazing women in my
yeah.
life that I'm like, oh, this is why I love the podcast because I get to have these conversations
Yes,
on a deeper level with people that
yes.
understand where I'm coming from and that stretch the way that I think about things.
Hmm.
Cause I'm like, oh, like, you just put a different spin on something.
Do you feel like not having that community kind of created some of the burnout you were experiencing?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Absolutely, because I felt like there was nowhere for me to turn. You know,
Okay.
you
Okay.
know what I'm saying? Like
Hmm.
it's like, not I don't mean this in a smug way, but no better way to say it. Like nobody wants to be the smartest person in the room.
Oh yeah. It's hard being the big fish in the little pond.
Like it's like
Yeah.
I'm like, what, and you keep searching for rooms and I'm
Uh-huh.
like,
Nope, this ain't it.
this ain't it. Like,
Yeah.
like, like,
Yeah.
where's the room? And so, like, I feel like in this phase of my life, there are rooms. I feel like, part of it was creating the room, right? And then part of it was just continuing to look and to step into different spaces because I know that that was what I needed.
Yes.
And
Higher quality, higher impact. Yeah.
yes, yes. And then my whole thing like right now like the last I think maybe like a month or two ago like this came to me and not so I'm very focused on right now is not overperforming.
Oh, that's good rest.
That's good rest.
That's good rest.
Not overperforming. Like I had like, and I'm because it's like on the top of mind, I've been so intentional about it in situations where I would normally just be like, I got it and just handle it. And I'm like, nope, that is not what this is.
Yeah.
And either we gonna figure it out or we're not.
Or
But
I'll give you an idea and you go figure it out.
that part, but
But this
but
doesn't belong to me.
this
That's why
don't
when
belong
I
to me.
came across, like after we had connected at the mastermind and I came across your calendar detox, I was like, no, I don't know that I've seen this concept before, right? Which lets you know it's a God thing. And it made me wonder, like, why haven't I seen this concept before? And then I got mad and I was like, well, Lord, why you didn't give me this idea? Like this one,
He said, because I had some different ones for you.
because we don't realize just there are only 24 hours.
That's it.
And we're trying to be all the things, especially those of us. So that like that's the thing where grace comes in, right? Not just grace is that ability that God gives you to do everything that He designed for you to do. But like if you're a solopreneur, you're the entire C-suite.
Right.
And you're the marketing department and your customer service. I often tell people like I knew somebody who when she started her business, she had a Google Voice number, right? And so Google Voice, the number shows up so you know that somebody's
Hmm.
calling for the business. She would change her voice to sound like the receptionist and then put the person on hold and then use her regular. You're all the things.
Everybody.
All of it rests on your shoulders. So we are not in any way minimizing the weight that
Correct.
you're carrying, right? But the Bible says his yoke is easy and his burden is light. It's not a weight that you're carrying alone
Correct. Correct. Because
until you snatch it from him and you start carrying it alone.
and you start making those decisions.
And you
But
start making decisions by yourself and you start taking a business that you said God gave you and you don't even go back to him and consult him on what he actually wants
wants you
for
to
it
do.
or from it,
Yes.
right? So I feel like the work that you're doing, even with something as simple as going back to your calendar and saying, I don't need to do this, I don't need to do this is not a priority for me. That's not a priority for me.
That's the crazy part. Like, so one of the exercises that we do is literally pulling out the calendar and prior to that, starting with what are your priorities?
Hmm. Hmm.
Like, what are those pieces of your success story? I will be successful when. What are those
Yeah,
things? What are those
yeah,
tenets? And
yeah.
then you have those tenets, and then you go over to your calendar. Show me where it's at on your calendar.
That's a twofold problem then. That's a twofold problem.
Hmm.
Because if the question is, I will be successful when, and the only thing, number one, the only thing I see on the calendar is stuff that maybe doesn't belong to you or stuff that you have prioritized. But then on the second page of that, nothing on the calendar. You've got nothing on the calendar scheduled that leads to your success.
Nope.
That's a problem.
But it's common. It's so common
How did we get here?
because we get sold a bag of goods and people come to us with opportunities. And those opportunities are usually self-serving. They have nothing to do with what you need to or want to be doing. And
Yeah,
then they have the nerve to gaslight you when you try to say that this is not aligned. They're gonna try to tell you that it is.
yeah. Because if you wanted success, you would do
If
this.
you wanted success, you would do this and you would do that and you would do whatever. And it's like, at the end of the day, what does this have to do with what I want? Because what success looks like to me is not being on the host committee for your fourth baby shower. It's not, that don't have nothing to do with
Why we got hosts for the why we got a host committee for the
you feel
wait,
me?
that's
But do
hilarious.
you, but that's the thing though, but that's what's on people's
That's
calendars,
what people are
and
doing.
it's just full of all these things.
That's what people
And
are doing.
if you in the business space, then it's like 8 to 12 networking meetings and this and that and everything. And all of those things are important in their own right,
But
but
not without intentionality.
that
Not
part,
without not without things that align with my values, not
that
without
part.
things that align. So like yesterday, like I was telling you, quote unquote, recently was yesterday. Um at at 5:17 yesterday afternoon, the Lord started talking to me. Me being me, of course, I'm already planning for Occupy 2026.
Right.
I got a list of don'ts.
Mm,
I can't say it's his
right.
and then try to model the thing that's his, hear me, after stuff that's not his.
Right. Right.
He sat with me yesterday. I sat with him yesterday. And it was before I had the idea of unfriend, unfollow, delete, unsubscribe. There was all this stuff that he was like, I've got like pages and pages. I listen and I write. I listen and I write. I've got pages and pages of notes yesterday um, from him telling me what not to do.
Mm,
When I sat back and looked at it after I wrote everything down, it's like, oh, this is easy.
yeah.
He built in another level of rest
Yeah.
for my planning process. Something as simple as everything don't need to be recorded.
Mm, mm,
But we live in a day and an age where if it's not, if we can't see it, it didn't happen. But I have discovered that God has designed this for as a space for transformation.
right.
And not all transformation needs to be public.
Right.
Some of what we do is the caterpillar becoming a butterfly. And you
Right.
don't see a caterpillar's transformation in
Mm-mm.
public.
You see the end result.
That's what you see. Something as simple
But
as everything don't need to be recorded.
you're saying that, and you know, in the last couple of months, I lost concept of time a long time ago. But in the last couple of months, I went to your Occupy event.
Mhm.
I went to my friend Sheila's, her second retreat.
Mhm.
Both of those spaces were God filled.
Mhm.
Both of those spaces were God filled. Both of those spaces gave me what I needed. And I know by observing, because that's just who I am. I'm a very
Mhm.
observant person. I know from observing gave other people what they needed. And, some maybe on a much deeper level than myself, right?
Mhm.
I'm saying that to say, I was asked like by somebody, oh, well, how was the retreat? And I can't all the way put it
Into words.
into words, because what happened was spiritual. And so,
So for that, you have to wait until you see the fruit of my life
right,
because there isn't a highlight reel from it.
right. And she, she had a videographer there, she had it all captured, and I shared all of that stuff on social media, and a lot of people were getting hyped up by that stuff, and I'm like,
Mhm.
that is beautiful. That was not what happened.
There was more.
That was like just the embellishment
Yeah.
on what happened.
Yeah.
Like, and I think, I love that you said that about the videoing of it because yes, you want to capture it,
Hmm.
but like you said, everything doesn't have to be captured.
It doesn't
And honestly, I don't know that you could have captured what happened at Occupy in a
feel like
video.
that's what he was saying.
You
That
couldn't,
like
the
you
video
can't
is not going to do it
it's
justice.
not gonna do it justice
It's
because
not going to do it justice.
everybody in the space said something similar to, if not exactly what you said. It gave me what I needed, and then I watched other women in the room who got what they needed. And I know we're not on the same level. I know we're not in the same industry. She's a business owner. I'm a mom. I don't have a business. But I watched women in the space get things out of this.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I had a videographer there.
Right.
And he was like, they don't need to see that. That's for you. Go
Right.
back
And yeah,
and
you,
review. Don't he I have literally been instructed not to publish anything from it.
because you can't
And I'm
capture
all
it.
right with that.
One, you can't capture it, but two, I also wonder, because I'm working on a retreat myself, and I
I'm
also wonder,
excited.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Y'all, look, I'm spilling secrets. I didn't got so excited, but that's all right. Y'all gonna hear about it soon. Don't worry. I'm working on that. And I also part of me wonders because I see the people's reaction to the physical piece of
Mhm.
it. Like, will that attract the wrong
There we go. Like, what if it's not like what, because that's a thing that we have to get settled in, which is another element of rest. You have to be settled in what you do, not looking like what other people, and still believing that it's going to draw whoever
right?
God
It's
wants
gonna draw
connected to
who's
it.
supposed to be in that space.
Right.
And I feel like, God puts his hand in that as well. Um, like me and my friend had a conversation about that. Like, certain things that, just God kind of intervened,
Mhm.
and so God puts his hand in that as well. But I noticed certain people perk up from the Instagrammable moments of it
Yeah.
all. And I'm
Yeah.
like, that is not what it was about.
And
Like
you
that
could
was
be, but you're
beautiful.
not changed.
That was beautiful. That the I love like, she does a she's post-military, so she does a camouflage dinner, but it's like a nice, and she does a beautiful setup and everybody talks about what they took away from the retreat. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. But when you see it on a picture, you just see the glitz and glam of it. But you're not getting the heart and soul
Right.
of it, right?
Right.
And so I hear that. I totally hear
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
In like I don't know that a video would capture what happened at Occupy. I really don't know that, watching that on video, even if it was a full out video of the entire experience,
Hmm.
it
Hmm.
was God was in that room.
And I watched that from, so this year we're 2 years after the relaunch because of course during the pandemic we couldn't do anything. 2024 was the first one we did since before COVID. And so I've gone back and watched the video multiple times and I'm like, this is great, right? Because like I can go back and I can, but there was something different about, because like you can hear the responses of women when certain things would be said and they're like, oh, like the entire room just takes a
Hmm.
deep sigh.
No, it was
And in my
you
mind
just
it takes me back to
you
the
felt it.
moment that the video, you can hear the sound of it, but the video doesn't fully encapsulate what actually happened.
What that felt like.
Right,
You
right,
could hear what it sounded like, you could see what it looked like, but it was what it felt like. Like I'm not
right.
a well, I don't know, as I get older, I have changed in some ways. I'm not a big crier.
Oh, I don't know what it is about this age that I just cry about everything.
Like now I'm like I'm being much more emotional than I
Yeah,
ever was, right?
yeah.
But I'm saying that to say even still, I'm still not like what most people would consider like, a
Hmm.
crier.
Hmm.
But there were moments where, and again, it wasn't even my
Right.
experience, but I just felt like I remember when Kat was walking around with the mirrors, and one of the ladies, when she read that mirror, and
You couldn't even get through all the words.
you felt every fullness of her soul.
Yeah, yeah.
And what was on that mirror wasn't for me. You know what I'm saying? It was for a previous version of me,
Right,
right?
right.
But it brought me to that version and knowing everything that that beautiful woman was
Was
experiencing
experiencing.
in her soul.
Because when you're on this side of wholeness, right? When you're on this side of being restored and you see people who are still on the other side of it, that's what that moment created for so many people.
Yes,
Because if you remember when she started reading, everybody was like, it's okay.
right.
It's okay.
It was so much love, it was so much
Yeah.
support, it was
Yeah.
so much um understanding. You know what I'm saying? Like, I get it. Like, and just, you know, like release it.
After that
Release it.
moment, what was so interesting after that moment was when we went into a break and we went to lunch, seeing other women embrace her
Mm-hmm.
with no ulterior motives or anything. Like it wasn't even about, hey, I want you to come to my coaching program. It wasn't even any of that. It
Mm-mm.
was watching the other women embrace her, and there was something about what we did in the room that has let me know that this is such a holy thing, right? This is such a different thing. This is something that's other than
Yes.
a lot of the spaces that are created for us as women.
Mm-hmm. No, it
They give
totally
us a
was.
lot of fluff, that give us a lot. This is why I'm so excited for whatever it is you intend to do with your retreat. Having like the been there, done that,
Right.
and come to this space expecting, here we go, expecting rest.
Yes.
But really, we had a nice pep rally and we dressed in pink and purple and
Encourage people to do
we
everything non-restful.
like you put more stuff on my plate.
Right.
That's really what
Right. No,
that's what
that's
you did.
really
You
what
put more
I
stuff on
mean,
my
and
plate.
and to put it in perspective, like, so y'all, I didn't know what I was attending, right? I didn't know the backstory. I didn't know what I was attending. And I'm gonna tell you, this is how I know God is God, right? Katie put up a message saying
Mhm.
she had some seats and was anybody interested in attending this event. Honestly, I was in an overpeopling moment
Gotcha.
at that
Gotcha.
time. So I
Gotcha.
don't even know why I said yes. And then Sheryl is in Baton Rouge. That's a good little hour and a half drive,
It's not round the corner. Yeah.
right? I have no clue why I said yes. Because again, no context. I have no clue what this event is. And I was just like, you know what? You haven't been to an event in a minute. You know, sign up for the event, right?
Yeah.
No clue. So fast forward, and I know you had all the stuff for leading up to the event, but I was not being obedient. I did not. I just was like, I done signed up. I'm about to go,
Yeah.
and you know, I showed up with
No
partially no
context.
expectations because I have no
Yeah.
context of what's about to
Yeah.
happen, but part of me. I had geared myself up for what you just described, another women's event, that
Yeah.
was not serving, feeling, whatever. I was just
Yeah.
like, it was at that moment, it was more like checking a box. You haven't been
Hmm.
to
Hmm.
networking event in a minute,
And I know
check the
lunch is going
box.
to be provided, and so I'm gonna just go give me some food.
That was it.
Yeah.
So I showed up, right?
Yeah.
Not knowing it all. And I was just like, you know what? I'm the type of person I'm gonna make the best out of a situation, whatever. But I had like I don't want to say partially no expectations, but partially wrong expectations, right? And so I enter this space and like just again, God was in the space.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was not that at all. And I think sometimes, again, going back to that authenticity and, trying to replicate things, I think sometimes we're so busy trying to replicate what others are doing
Hmm.
that we're not being bold enough to stand in the difference, right?
Come on.
And so I want to applaud you for that boldness
Thank you. Thank
to
you.
stand up and show up with something different, with something meaningful, with something, you know, I know that those ladies walked away different than when they came in.
Yeah.
Just even some of the comments in the sessions, like there's a difference when people give you information
Hmm.
and it's just sitting there
Hmm.
than when you process the information. The
Yeah.
questions are different. You know
The
what I'm
questions
saying?
are different.
The
Yeah.
questions are different. The questions start to become more practical, right? And so that was the conversation.
Yeah.
And and it didn't feel like somebody's trying to sell me this or do me that, or it did that wasn't there. It was just, you know, really pouring in. And like you said, it wasn't fluff.
Yeah.
It wasn't rah, rah, rah. Some of it was digging in, I was like, well, I didn't know I was gonna have to give Pope my
Have to
soul a
tell
day.
all of my business.
Like
Yeah.
I didn't know we was going down deep into my soul. But I think that that is what is needed. That is what healing looks like. Healing looks like looking at them parts that you try not to look at. And
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and looking at them and restoring them. And so I was grateful for the space. I definitely was grateful for
Oh,
the
thank
space
you.
because I didn't know I was getting that. It was like a beautiful surprise. I did
Yeah.
not know that that was what I was going to receive on that day. And I I got, a lot out of it, but I also enjoy watching others
Connect the dots.
embrace.
Even if it's one dot to another dot.
Right, right. It don't matter. It doesn't
Yeah.
have to be to the end of the line, but
Yeah.
for somebody to have that moment where they're ready to just open the floodgates,
Mm,
because that is the first step of moving towards your healing, moving towards your rest, moving towards your personal success story. That's the first step, is that you got to open them gates and realize all that you have been holding in.
that's so good. That is so good. You
And
would even say for people who are in our space, who are listening and they're like, well, dang, I have an idea for a retreat too, or I have an idea for an in-person mastermind or an in-person networking event. Another thing I would want you to know is that you don't have to know everything.
no,
And you don't have to, in that day, try to give people everything.
no,
That's another element of rest. Like you bring in people who are experts at their thing
correct.
and give
Correct.
them the space to work,
To work.
give them the space to do what they have to do. And then don't try to cram everything
No,
into one day,
no.
especially if you're doing deep work.
In
That people are
calendar
going to need time to process.
In calendar detox, I talk about white space and how
Yes,
we do not create enough white space on our
yes,
calendars. And
yes.
that's everything that we do. Every moment don't have to be
Be filled
bam,
with
bam, 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 bam. People, like you said, it needs a process.
like
That
the fact with the calendar thing, the fact that we are a society who regularly uses the phrase, let me check my calendar.
Right.
And we, not because we really need to make sure that we don't have stuff overlapping.
Right, right, because we do.
And God forbid you use multiple calendars, right? God
Hmm.
forbid it's Outlook and Gmail, and
12 different things you got to check.
just to see whether or not we can have lunch today.
Right. That part.
That's crazy.
And you may not have a spot for you to eat lunch, period. Not just with somebody, just period.
On your own, just to make sure you do what your body needs
Right.
every day.
And I'm telling you, like people think that this is crazy, especially as a business owner. Man, look, when I go through Tuesdays, I go through and I do proposals and I do follow-ups. You could tell me no, because that means I could clear off a day on my calendar. Like if
Thank
it's a
you.
yes, it's a yes, that's great. But yes, I have to do that to stay in business. But at the same time,
You say no, I am really unbothered.
look, if I could
I
get
am.
a full empty day on my calendar. You ain't saying nothing but a word. Like we need that. We need to see that. Think about just how mentally overwhelming it is when you look at something that's cluttered. Like in like the art world, that's what white space means. Like white space
Right.
means that
Right.
there's negative space. Like there's space
Right.
that there's nothing there so
Yeah.
that your eye can focus on the things you're supposed to focus on
So if it's important in design, how much more important is it in your
in your
life?
life. Because if something goes
Um,
wrong,
you don't have
then
a
what?
buffer.
You don't have space for it. And I had to switch my thinking on that because I would always say that. Now I say, what about if you wanted to, I would say, because if life happens, but what
Mhm.
about if you want life to happen?
There's no
There's
room.
no room for it. If you call up tomorrow and say, Danny, let's go grab lunch, and I'm like, well, I could squeeze it in October. Come on now. Like, what we doing this for?
Why are we doing this? Why does every moment have to be filled with something? And then and it's so interesting because we fill every moment with something and then we're mad that we don't have time. Isn't that backwards?
This is the part, I'm telling
That's
you, this is the part
backwards.
when people get ready to break up with me, when I tell them, so you in charge of your calendar, right?
Right.
You put all that stuff on
You
it.
did that. You did that. You did
And
that.
I'm gonna tell this story. We're gonna wrap up because I know we've been talking for a while. You're gonna have to come back because we got more stories.
I'm happy to.
You're gonna have to come back.
I'm happy.
But when, and I have this story. I got two books in the works right now. So one of them is about the calendar detox.
Mhm.
And I have this story in there. I was talking to my husband and I was like, "Oh, babe, such and such got canceled." And he said, "Well, it don't matter. You're gonna find something else to put there."
Ouch.
And I was ready to fight. And he said it wasn't even fighting words. He just said it in passing because it was true. But sometimes truth feel like
If it's offensive,
sometimes truth is
it's
offensive when
offensive.
you don't want to be held accountable.
It's offensive.
And in that season of my life, I wasn't ready to be held accountable. Here, looking back, he wasn't wrong.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
wasn't wrong.
The
And
beautiful thing about that though is now we couldn't pay you to pack your calendar with something.
look, the way I look, how to earlier I was saying about the toddlers with their rest, the way that I got the
Yeah.
terrible tools and I'm walking around, no, 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 no.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
And
had to
that's
I had to correct myself because
because
I
you
said,
run two different businesses.
yes,
You're running businesses in two very different industries.
yes. So I ain't got time.
You don't.
And even in running those businesses, I'm heavy on systems and automation.
Absolutely.
So that's how I can do
Absolutely.
that.
Yes, ma'am.
And we got to do that in our personal life and our professional life. We got to stop doing stuff the hard way because they ain't no reward for that.
I, what if we automate rest? What might that look like
Whew.
if we were to automate rest? If we were to just very intentionally, even if it has to start with, so I've had people ask me, okay, so how do I do that? Like it's different for you because you homeschool and blah blah blah. One of the things we do with homeschooling, we have a 4 day class week, and
Hmm.
I let my son decide what day he wants off, not
Right,
just Saturdays and Sundays. 4 days, pick a day.
right.
And every year it's been different. So like last year we did Wednesday, so he would have Sunday, Wednesday, and Saturdays to do
Hmm.
what, and this is whatever you want to do. Like what,
Right.
so if I'm doing that with him at this early age, it's setting that intentionality for
Absolutely.
not feeling like your entire life has to be scheduled,
Right.
right? So I often tell people it may look like you intentionally scheduling a time to step away from the computer. If you work from home, that might look like you just go outside and walk a lap in your yard and come back in.
Right.
You go sit down, don't turn the TV on, don't turn anything on, and just set alarms for
Right.
when to start and when
And
to
when to
stop.
stop. And setting office hours.
You're the entrepreneur. This
Set
business
office
belongs to
hours.
you.
That part.
Set some office
Set
hours.
office hours.
You need a
Not
schedule.
a lot of these boundaries are not for the customer, they for you.
Good for you.
They're for you because you hard-headed and you're gonna keep doing when you're not supposed to. So when it's time, I told you, my dog, he's my self-care manager.
Hmm.
If I'm on this computer too long after 5 or 6 o'clock, he about to start flipping
Yeah.
computers, flipping papers. He about to say, it's time. This is my
Time.
time now.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so it's setting those types of boundaries. I have Monday is my off day. And my rule for my off day is I don't do anything on that day that I don't want to.
Mm.
So I don't set up doctor's appointments on Monday because I'm scared of the doctor. So that's not a good Monday activity. That's going to have to be on a work day.
I love that.
Um, and if I do work, because as entrepreneurs, sometimes we do, there's spillover or whatever. If I do work, it's going to be on a project that I really enjoy.
Yes. Yes.
So Mondays are about joy for me. And it's kind of flipping the script because I remember when I had a 9 to 5 and I would get a pit in my stomach at, 5:45 on Sunday afternoon when my mind remembered that I gotta go
You
back
got
to
to go
work
back to
tomorrow.
work.
So I'm reclaiming my Mondays.
I love that. I love that.
All right, I'm gonna start wrapping up because like I said, we could
I'll be
continue
back.
to talk. You're gonna
I'll
be
be
back.
back.
You're absolutely gonna be back because we have so many other things that we can just get into, but I
Yeah.
love this conversation. All right, so my first wrap-up question is tell me about your favorite pair of pajamas.
So I've never been a pajama girl, but I have realized that this stage of my life, I like wearing my husband's pajama pants.
I love that.
Like since our son has understood what pajamas are and what Christmas is, every year he was like, I want to get dad a new pair of pajamas. Let's get, so for
Mm-hmm.
the last 11 years of, yeah, so I will basically steal his.
Yes, I love that. Like, so eh, pajamas is in my soul. So, and I like nobody has said one yet that I don't like, right? So
Girl,
I've stolen my husband's pajama
why is
bottoms.
men's wear so comfortable? I did
Cause,
not
cause they be
know.
playing with us. They be playing with us.
Did not know. Oh
They
my
be
Lord.
playing with us. They want everything for us to be cut all weird and
No,
stuff. And
no,
they
I
stuff
can't
just
move
be,
in that.
they
Yeah,
stuff is so laid back. So like No, I've stolen his stuff. I have this old t-shirt from when we were in high school. It's his shirt, it's not mine. And at this point, I don't even know if we could call it a shirt no more. Like, I mean,
Oh,
because it's been around that long. Like,
mm.
but I still every once in a while I'll put it on. I can't put it on when I got people at the house because
It's that kind of shirt.
it's
Yeah.
like it like
Yeah.
the integrity of the shirt has been
It's
compromised. Let's just
questionable.
say that.
Yeah.
But it is comfortable. It's very, very comfortable.
Um,
So yeah, I totally get that. All right.
that's
So my time freedom allows me to.
it allows me to plan for the future. I plan with legacy in mind. I don't just necessarily think from week to week, month to month, year to year. I really do picture things in decades.
Hmm.
10 years from now, what does fill in the blank need to look like?
Right.
And so I often take time to just sit and dream about what the next 10 years, what the potential of the next 10 years can be.
That's beautiful. That is beautiful. I need to be a little more forward.
And then I don't even, and then it's not even like let me work, let me
Hmm.
start working. It's let me sit and visualize.
Yeah. And we need that time and space.
Hmm. Hmm.
We need that time. I was talking to somebody recently and I said, well, they're transitioning into entrepreneurship. And I said, well, one thing that's good to consider is like pick a day of the week that's going to be your CEO day.
That's right.
And she said, well, what do you mean by that? I said, well, there got to be times when you are a visionary. There got to be times when you are working, on the business,
Not
not
in,
just doing a day-to-day task. And
yeah.
so that's like so important and we lose sight of it. But the
Hmm.
business can't grow if you don't give it that
If you
space.
don't have the idea for growth,
Right. And and you are not intentional about
you're
that
not
space and
intentional
time.
about it. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So what is the best advice that you can give to someone seeking the profits in pajamas lifestyle?
Oh my goodness. The best advice. I would literally say just listen to this episode over and over.
That's fair.
I would say listen to this episode over and over. The bet you won't get to the profit. You won't get to profits and pajamas without rest.
Yeah.
You won't.
Yeah.
You'll be at eternal rest before you get to profits and pajamas if you don't
No, I mean, but
start.
that's no,
If you
you're
don't
saying
start
that, but
taking
the
it serious.
reality, I think I shared this with you, but like there was a young lady like very recently that passed
Yeah.
away
That's what makes me
and
say that. Yes.
and she was talking about, the grind and this and that and how tired she was. And she said, you know what, I'm gonna take 3 days off. And she didn't wake up on that third
And
day.
she is in eternity at this point.
And unfortunately, she waited too long
Right.
for that rest.
Right.
And
And she was young, right?
and
Like
she was young.
she was
I
young.
think she was like in her 20s or 30s, like
Right.
early 30s. She was
Right.
young. And you know, we we glorify this hustle, but it is killing us.
It
And
is.
it's not sustainable.
It's not.
And even like, people that are still with me, like I keep hearing more and more people that have suffered with strokes that are under the age of 50, under the age of 60. Like this is,
Like the fact that we have young people with what we would call old people diseases, old people
yes,
in your
yes,
40s,
yes.
in your 30s,
This is ridiculous. Like you should know multiple people, right? Like I'm just like,
multiple
it
people.
just keeps adding up, and then somebody will say, "Oh yeah, so and so," and I'm like, "Wait, what?"
No, why are you on this much medication? Why are you on this much medication?
That we
And
can
you
get
don't even like you're not even Medicare age. Like why
that part.
why
Look,
are you
because
this
I
is
know that there have been
weird.
times that I'm sitting in the office, the doctor's office, and I'm like, Why everybody here?
Why do you have this many people in why can't we just get a doctor's appointment these days?
Right, because
Just to see the general practitioner. I
everything
gotta
is
wait
booked
3 months.
out. But like, why am I walking into the office and everybody in there is Geritol age? I'm like, I don't think I'm supposed to be here.
This is
I don't
yeah,
understand what is
yeah,
happening right now. I need to change my life
yeah, yeah.
because why, so it's too much. And
You
we
get you
and
get the profits and pajamas by making rest an integral part of the business, even if it's not a part of the business plan that you show to the banker, right? You need a personal business plan that
yes,
says this is how I do whatever. And rest has to be a part of that. It's got to be at the forefront of what you do. You make it look like what you need it to look like that creates restoration for you, that creates, I think a lot of the fact that so many people need so much clarity, you are listening to too much.
oh goodness gracious,
You're
yes.
inundated with too much
And
information. You
and you
need a
can't
break
figure
from
out,
that.
take what's in front of you, go sit with God and come out with an answer.
Come out with an answer.
And you it's too much
It
noise.
is. It's too much noise. So we
It's
get to profits and pajamas by integrating rest as a part of the culture, as a part of our lifestyle, and being okay with it being countercultural. It's supposed to be holy.
right.
It's supposed to
And
be different. It's supposed to
and
be something other.
and also understanding that it's countercultural. So you are going to get pushback.
You're gonna get pushback.
You're going to get pushback, but that's okay.
It's okay.
You,
It is.
look, if you don't have any other response to the pushback, tell them God told you. God told you to rest.
And I don't owe you another explanation.
That part. But I love also, I just want to highlight this, like you're talking about integrating it with your child.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know the same, like just from the changes that I have made over time, watching them reflected back in my child.
Yeah.
Because this younger generation have the most pressure
But
on them.
why do y'all have so much going on?
They
You
have the
got
most
karate and
pressure on
soccer
them.
and this and that. I don't understand friends of mine who, and I mean, it's nothing against them. You run your life the way you want to. I don't have to feed you or your children. But y'all not getting home till 8 o'clock at night. And then homework begins.
So
But you have them in so many things.
I saw this post once it was like, I want to say it was a parenting group. I'm not sure, but
Mhm.
the post was about, it was a doctor talking about the necessity of sleep for children at each age, how much sleep they're supposed to
Okay.
get,
Hmm.
right? Okay, fine. In the comments, people losing it, talking about that's unrealistic because my child have this, that, and the other, and I don't get home until 9 o'clock. And the fact that the child needs sleep don't change because you decided to do something different.
Come on. Come
Don't
on.
get mad at the facts,
Because we're talking about third graders. They don't drive themselves. They're not enrolling themselves in all of this stuff on their own.
but
We're talking
don't get
about
mad at the
children.
facts. You assaulted and offended by the facts.
Because your baby needs sleep.
They need to go to sleep. Them children
They need to go to
tired.
bed. They're exhausted.
They're tired and they're developing. They need sleep.
And this generation is in school way longer than we were.
Yes.
I'm like, y'all, why
And
are you
some
at the bus
schools have
stop at
taken out
5:30?
recess. And so it's just like, what are these children signing up to do?
I'm
Like,
not
why
okay.
do they have to be so
Absolutely
trained?
not.
I understand, education, the power of education, but I'm like, well,
We're not even
goodness
seeing the fruit of
gracious.
that. We're not even seeing the fruit of that.
No.
All right. So why are we doing this?
Like, I'm just like, this is like, it's a little ridiculous, but I think, we have to continue to change the culture,
Yeah. Yeah.
and one by one stand up to that culture and operate without. apology in
Yeah.
that culture because what's really interesting is if you go travel abroad, them people ain't stressed like this
They
here.
are not.
Them people are chilling.
They are not stressed like that.
They are chilling. They are just
So we
living
can't
life
just
and
say
having
this
a
is the way it is because everybody's not having that same experience
no,
across the globe.
no. Like even post, my like switch over to restfulness. I went on a trip to London. I was doing a big balloon bill, and I'm like, well, come on, we gotta finish. We gotta do this. And the people
Mhm.
that were like there, people there from all over, but the people that were there from London, they like, I'm
Y'all
about to
doing
go
too
get me a
much.
cup of tea,
Yeah,
and I'm
yeah,
gonna be right back. And I was like,
yeah.
oh, like even in this, there is still like some of this culture that I'm so accustomed to tied into how I move.
It is. That's interesting. That's interesting.
Yeah, we are culturally dipped in it, and we have to revolt.
We do. I feel like that's part of like even not just as a believer, right? Like not just as a Christian, but part of what it looks like to be the light of the world is showing people, not just pointing people to God, but pointing people to a different way of doing things
Yes. Yes.
where it's not just him integrated into it, but like this life is just better.
Yes.
It's just better.
It is. It really is because there are
It's just
moments.
better that I can decide, okay, I'm going to bed now. It's just
Right.
better.
It is. And I know like the moments you forget, right? There are moments that come in and you
Yes,
like, uh-uh.
yes,
Like, like
yes,
you like, wait, this feels like that old stuff.
yeah, yeah,
Like I'm
yeah.
not for it.
I'm not for it.
And you start to operate differently because there's gonna be busy seasons. Sometimes there's gonna be seasons where your rest is gonna be tested. Right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But when you know what this feels like, you know how to get back.
That's right. That's
You know how
right.
to get back. Because like I know certain seasons are gonna be busy for me.
Seasons, though.
Seasons,
Busy
moments,
season, not busy
not
lifestyle.
busy lifestyle. I
Yeah.
know the season, but I also know how to plan for the season. So I know this is the last day of this season, and
Mm-hmm.
that very next day, I'm about to be on somebody's massage table.
Mm-hmm.
And that next week, nobody on earth better talk to me.
I
Like,
love that.
because I gotta reset. Because
Yeah.
I'm
How
not
to go
carrying,
through it, how to come out of it.
right,
I,
I'm not carrying this on.
I like that.
So we just have to learn how to operate in different ways.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm gonna give you a moment to tell everybody how they can stay connected to you. And if there's something that you want to share with the audience, this is your time.
Absolutely. So you can find me. The only social media I am on is Instagram and LinkedIn. I'm more active on Instagram, though active being relative, of course. Hey, HEY I am Sheryl, SHERYL. There are a couple of things that I am actually working on. One I'm going to send to you via email for you to
Okay.
send that's gonna kind of accompany our conversation today.
Okay.
Because, like I said, it was yesterday. It was just yesterday.
Look, and that's how it comes sometime. But guess what? We got time to put it in the show notes.
I am not, I'm gonna, diligently, actively work through it and get it. And I'm gonna send it to you for, you to be able to send it out to your community. So I appreciate you sharing your audience with me. Also the planning for Occupy 2026 is underway. It will be here in Baton Rouge. I'll be able to share more details, but I will also have a discount code for the
Awesome.
Prophets and
Awesome.
Pajamas
Awesome. Thank you. We
community.
appreciate
I
it.
will send that information out to you guys as soon as possible as well. It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure. I know we could go. We could
Oh,
go.
look, we can definitely go, and we're not going to be strangers after this. So, we are going to continue, this conversation. Y'all just don't get to hear it. That's okay.
That's
But
all.
but that's okay. You can stay connected to both of us, and you can hear all of the great things that we are doing, sharing, and how we're moving this movement forward,
Yes. Yes.
So I appreciate you for being here and just, sharing. I'm so grateful to have met you, and this has been an absolute pleasure. So you guys, I'm gonna sign off. I know we've been talking for a while, but it was good. It was really, really good. It was really good.
It was good.
So, if y'all gotta break it up to listen to it, that's fine too. But, I'm gonna sign off for now. I will see you guys next week. And hopefully I will see you guys at Occupy 2026. Because I know that it was an amazing experience. I know I will be back. So I'm absolutely excited. So bye, you guys. I'll see you next week. Thanks for listening to the Prophets in Pajamas podcast. I hope you got some great tips to start working with these. Want to stay connected? Follow me at Your Workflow on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. For more information about creating balance in your life, register for my upcoming calendar detox challenge at CoachDannyD.com. Don't forget to subscribe, join the community, and book a call to find the workflow program that best fits your needs.